A very good evening and welcome to the MODUS Super Series, where a Group B is going to begin, where a DJ wants to be the Mutt's Nuts and Mr. P wants to be the special agent. We've got 5 fantastic players in action for you this evening. This is what's coming up. Darren Johnson has been impressing on the World Seniors circuit in recent times. He's hoping to correlate that to results in the Super Series this week. Martin Turner has been the Mutt's Nuts recently. Winner of 2 WDF titles in recent times, Saturday Night Glory is his next goal. Steve Brown finished second in Group A. He had his chances to make his way through, but a defeat to Rene Idam scuppered his hopes. David Kerwin made some major moves on Wednesday, and although it wasn't enough to be Group Victor, he did secure his passage into the evening session. Pilgrim is looking to become the first player to make it through to 3 Champions Weeks. Can he do so? He's the favourite to do so. Well, what a night of darts we have ahead of us here in Group B. Phil Bars is going to be describing all the action of the commentary box, and look, all the talk is going to be about Pilgrim. He is the favourite for the week, and he's one of the best players without a tour card in the world. Yeah, he's favourite for a reason. He comes here full of pedigree. He knows the stage. He's won a week here before. That's the important thing. He has the experience, and as you say, he is one of the best players in the world without a tour card. He's played on the Euro Tour, the Challenge Tour. He's been called up to the Pro Tour, full of experience, and he will be the man to beat here this evening. We'll talk a little bit more about Group B in just a second, because we've already seen a session of darts here at the Super Series today. That came this afternoon in Group C, and it was a session full of intrigue, and it's a session that is led at the halfway point by Rob Grundy, the debutant, who really did take the competition by storm, winning 4 out of his opening 5 matches, and he's joined at the top of the table by a Luxembourgian qualifier, Jim Meyer. Yeah, when we spoke to Chris Appiah earlier, Rob could have come here, and it does take time to adjust sometimes, but he took to it so well. It was unreal. There was no nerves, fearless, and he just grew into it as well. And he's going to be hard to catch tomorrow if he continues to play in that way. Jim Meyer just left off from where he finished his Group A campaign, full of confidence and winning games. And those two are in a good position, but don't count out John Worsley in third. How do you think Adam Moulds going to be feeling overnight? Because he put in some of the best averages of the day. Didn't correlate to results in the end, though. I think he'll be disappointed the fact he hasn't got points on the board. But look, defeats always hurt. But if he can sit down and look at it in a calm manner, the performances were there. He gave himself opportunities in every one of those games. Yes, he didn't take them, and he's probably going to have to do something special tomorrow, maybe go through the card to have a chance. But if he continues to give himself those opportunities, results will come. It's just, can he take them? So that is Group C, and that is going to continue tomorrow afternoon from 1 p.m. here on the Super Series YouTube channel, before we're resuming coverage on Sporty Stuff TV from 3. But tonight it is all about Group B, and this is what we are looking forward to seeing. This is how the bookies take tonight's action. Pilgrim going out the heavy favourite, 4-6 with the odds compilers, but Steve Brown came very close to qualifying through Group A, and in Martin Turner as well, a player who's had a lot of success on the WDF circuit. Yeah, look, you can't argue with the top 2. Pilgrim rightly favourite, as that pedigree we spoke about earlier. So I think they've got that right. Maybe a little bit short, but deservedly favourite. Steve Brown second in Group A. So again, playing well. He knows his game's there. So I can kind of see that. The 2 that really intrigue me is Darren Johnson and Davy Kerwin. The 2 outsiders at 9 and 10 to 1. Davy played some fabulous stuff in Group A, grew into it, but Darren Johnson has been playing really well on the seniors. He's 3rd in their order of merit, and he's won an Open Series event in the last year. So he's going to be tough to beat. So I think they're a little bit overpriced, and I think there's value in there. And you look at David Kerwin, and every single day he's got more settled on that stage, and some of the performances have got better. Yeah, look, we saw that in his Group A performances. The finishes were there, the scoring started to come. I like it when he throws a little bit quicker. Having seen him in that group, I think when he slowed it down a little bit was when darts started to go astray. But when he was in that nice pace, that nice rhythm, he'll be tough to beat. This is a real intriguing group. Yes, Pilgrim is the favourite for a reason, but I still think all of them will have a chance to qualify from this table. Well, it's time to have a look at tonight's bet builder at the Super Series. This is an amalgamation of bets that have made their way through the exchanges, and we put it into Haddy Treble for you. Tonight, it pays just over 6 to 1. Just what do you make of those selections there, Phil? The bottom 2 I really like, because I think there is certainly legs in those games, because I don't see a lot between the players, so I can see them easily going
the distance. The top one is the 180s market. Yeah, look, Pilgrim's a huge scorer, but if it's a short game, he may not have the legs to get those 180s. So he's going to need to go the distance. But look, it's a good price, over 6-1. A bit of value in there. So if you fancy a flutter tonight, I quite like it.
18 plus begambleaware.org if you're going to have a flutter on the bet builder team. Well, our first game of the session, it sees Darren Johnson in action up against David Kerwin. It is the DJ up against the police officer from Scotland. So, well, the DJ's looking to change the record, and the Scotsman, well, he'll be hoping the blue lights will be flashing towards Saturday night. Phil Bars is going to make his way down to the commentary box to describe all of the action. Hopefully not as many puns as bad as that. In the company of the pun master himself, it's a very good evening to Chris Murphy.
Why, thank you very much, Henry. Good evening, everybody, and welcome along to another night of action here at the Super Series. And our superstar DJ gets the action underway. The 56-year-old from Mexborough up in Barnsley, South Yorkshire, takes on the Glaswegian Claymore Davy Kerwin, who's looking to put Darren Johnson to the sword in this opening match. After a very decent debut week so far, Kerwin, as mentioned by the boys on the balcony, has been very competitive in Group A after a slow start, and he actually said he was a little bit under the weather on Monday, winning just one of his 5 fixtures, but since
first
then...
leg, it's Darren to throw first. Game on.
He managed to add a further 7 wins. As Charlie Corstafino, our referee, gets proceedings underway for the first of 10 tungsten tussles on a Thursday night. Live here on Sporty Stuff TV.
100.
And it's Scotland against Yorkshire in the opener as DJ takes on DK.
100.
And PB has joined me after talking to HD.
Yeah, just walking through the practice room. They've got Bon Jovi blaring out in there. It's a bit of a rocky practice room.
Yeah, it's a different kind of groups you get in those practice rooms. I think it is a
45.
Bit more of a senior practice room tonight, with 3 of the players over the age of 50. Steve Brown, of course, the chairman of the board of the ADC.
180.
Daryl Pilgrim, sort of junior in that field, which will be rare for him. But here's one of the senior stars, Darren Johnson, landing the first maximum of the night.
140.
Yeah, we spoke about it up on the balcony, and I thought the bookies were being rather generous with 10-1 on DJ, considering he's 3rd in the Seniors Order of Merit. He has won an Open Series event in the last 12 months.
45.
But they kind of written him off as a no-hoper.
Yeah, as my other half always tells me, Phil, there's a difference between generosity and carelessness.
100. Darren, you require 121.
So loose start on the 1-2-1 means he's not going to get a go at 41. The finish. And this 116
David, you require 160.
Is more than doable for the Scot.
He's shown what he can do this week. Needs to get underneath that, but has flicked off it and found the wrong bed.
That's unlucky. It's a well-thrown dart. Just gone
54.
the wrong side of the wire.
Darren, you require 80.
So Johnson coming back, looking at 80 to hold.
Well, he's okay. 15 off leave 65, so it'll be 15, and he's got the bonus of the treble there for double 10. Yeah,
Game
nicely rescued by Darren Johnson.
Darren Johnson.
There was a knowing nod from Kerwin in the background, but Johnson, after hitting a 180...
Second leg, it's Davey to throw first.
It's an 80
Game on.
to win the first leg.
Yeah, he knew, didn't he? As soon as that second dart hit the treble.
58.
We were obviously talking about it up
60.
there, Murph, about Pilgrim being the favourite. Do you think the others will look at it and think he's the favourite and we're perhaps playing for 2 and 3?
Probably, but I think that many would have looked
59.
at Group A with John Worsley as a big favourite, and that didn't pan out that way, did it? Rennie Idams finished above him. So did Steve Brown, and so did Davy Kerwin.
100.
Absolutely.
In fact, no guarantee that Worsley will make it through to finals night. He
85.
did win his last match of the day and beat Jim Meyer, stopped him from getting 5 from 5. That could be the pivotal victory that Worsley needs. Remember, the action in Group C gets underway again at
83.
1 p.m. tomorrow, live on the YouTube channel, 3 p.m. on Sporty Stuff TV for the run-in.
59.
As far as Group B goes, we've had quite different Group Bs over the last few weeks. We had one 3 weeks ago where all the players were separated by, well, basically nothing.
85.
One match away from them all finishing on the same amount of points, which was remarkable. And then one last week where everything was pretty much settled by the middle of the second night.
Yeah, it's a real interesting dynamic Group B as Kerwin levels up the 180 count to leave 60. It's been quite a dominant performance on his own throw here.
57.
But
Davey
needs to find a break.
60.
I'll come back to your point in a minute, Murph, on Group B, but let's see if the Scot can level it up. Is that a blocker, or can he manoeuvre past?
40.
No is the answer.
Darren, you require 116.
Well, this would be robbery, wouldn't it? It's not going to happen. Probably a good idea not to rob a policeman, to be honest.
We may only have 4
42.
players tomorrow.
Davey, you require 20.
All right, can Davey get this leg locked up? 5-5. Oh, dear. And
No
you can
score.
see the fury
Darren
there from
requires
Kerwin as he
74.
throws the last dart away. Fair enough going back to 10, but that was in anger.
Yeah, and he may not come back.
Game shot on the second
Darren
leg.
Johnson
Darren Johnson
finds the break. Kerwin threw that leg away. He had it in the palm of his hands.
Third leg, it's Darren to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, going back to your point, Chris, about these Group B tables, it's one of those ones that you feel that you have to have something on the board going into tomorrow. If you lose all 4, you're pretty much done. Although mathematically, you can still do it, and we've seen it on a rare occasion. But you have to go into tomorrow with something to play for in terms of points.
100.
Yeah, you lose all 4, you need to win all 4 and then still hope, don't you, in the second day. And take a look at Darren Johnson's throw side on here. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted by
60.
the rather fetching watch he's wearing there.
Yeah, the Kerwin throw is more textbook, as you call it, where there's not a lot of movement, where Johnson's just got a little manoeuvre of the hand there halfway through the action where it almost lifts.
100.
There's a little bit of the rock in there, isn't there? Not quite John Henderson levels, but there is a bit of swaying from Darren Johnson.
Yeah, and I was chatting to, obviously, Henry up on the balcony, and having
91.
seen Kerwin through the first 3 days, I preferred it when he just threw a little bit quicker. There was a little bit more zip in the action. When he started to slow it down again is when darts started to spray off to the left and right.
134.
Johnson is a former PDC Pro Tour finalist, lost to Simon Whitlock in the decider in an event in Barnsley, his hometown.
47.
They've just round the corner
Darren,
from
you require
Dennis
111.
Priestley, who he respects enormously. In fact, wore his shirt at the World Seniors.
Yeah, it was a nice touch, wasn't it?
It didn't quite go to plan, did it, for Darren Johnson? That when he was beaten by Phil Taylor at the
30.
Circus Tavern, but who hasn't been?
There was a few mind games in there as well, back at the tavern where Dennis beat him.
Yeah, certainly, probably the case. But has had
91.
more success in
Darren,
his
you
senior
require
years, and he's
81.
certainly making a successful start to this Super Series night. Double 12. He thought it was in.
Come back, Darren.
69.
And he can't rescue the
Davey
situation
requires 72.
with the last dart. We saw a bit of a robbery in leg 2. Are we going to see another in leg 3? It's a dart at tops.
Game shot on the
And this
third
time,
leg.
it is
Davey
in.
Kerwin.
Davey Kerwin level, well, doesn't he? Puts it back on the throw. That's a break back. And effectively, we are on throw
Fourth
again.
leg, it's Davey to throw first. Game on.
It would be Kerwin that would still need to get another break. So no real damage done to Johnson just yet. But we did watch earlier in the week that when
100.
Kerwin got on a roll, he did seem to gather some momentum. I think, in fact, on his opening
81.
match, he won 4-0, then lost 4 games in a row, and then the next day on his opening match, he lost 4-0 and won his next 4 games in a row.
100.
Yeah, he was saying, wasn't he, that his son was on a night shift, saw him win the first one, and then wake up devastated.
125.
Another to leave a finish.
100.
Both of them seem in the groove now. There's a nice rhythm to this game.
58.
Yeah, I think we are going to see some close encounters tonight. I know Daryl Pilgrim's odds-on favourite to win the group, but I don't see him winning every match with
100.
ease.
I'm completely with you there. There'll be some drama along the way, and he'll have to overcome some adversity at some point.
134. Debut
Mr.
required
B in the
101.
second match of the night, Steve Brown facing Pilgrim. But here, Kerwin looking at double 16 to complete the
Game
101.
shot on the fourth leg.
What did we say about him
Davy
getting on a
Kerwin.
roll?
15 dart.
Fifth leg, it's Darren to throw
Hold
first.
a throw, best leg
Game
of
on.
the match so far, on a 101 finish.
Yeah, superb from the Scot. Really good reaction, actually, because he should have really won the second leg, and he's
45.
managed to put those demons behind him.
Yeah, I don't think he dwells on bad darts too often.
58.
He has been playing some decent stuff in opens of late. I know when he only won 1 match on Monday, Gary Stone, who's
100.
been a great player here at the Super Series, was very surprised.
Yeah, he's held in very high regard in Scotland.
180.
Second maximum from him.
140.
This is bubbling along now, nicely now.
I mentioned that match against Taylor at the
82.
seniors. It would be remiss of me not to mention the game before when he did get the better of Larry Butler, of course, who is always worthy of mention in the build-up to the World Match Play.
59.
The 1994 champion.
Yeah, first winner. The American ace, who of course has also appeared here at the Super Series.
81. Darren, you require 157.
It's a biggie, and he's not up to it. So it may be 3 legs on the spin for Davy Kerwin here.
81. Davy require 100.
Just wants to stay away from the 1. Because he can now still finish. Looks like he's going to try and hunt down that treble 20 and does it successfully for double 10.
80.
That was a
Darren,
fabulous
you
second
require
dart
76.
to manoeuvre past the blocker. But can't find double 10 and may pay the price as Darren Johnson has one more dart at double 8 for a hold of throw. Just steps back to compose himself.
Game
That's
shot
a-
on the
that's
fifth
a
leg.
dart, that is.
Darren
To
Johnson.
go over the top of that one. And he's dodged a bullet there because Kerwin had an opportunity
Sixth
for that
leg,
break
it's
of
Davies
throw.
to throw first.
But
Game
Johnson
on.
showed all his experience there just to compose himself because the dart wasn't set in the hand.
Had a little word with himself, gave it the come on.
85.
And it worked out very well. Recently a quarter-finalist at the Welsh Open.
60.
Has been doing a little tour of open events that he didn't really play in when he was a working man. Now regards himself as retired.
81.
Been a good Yorkshire chap and saved up his pennies over the years.
You suggesting he was perhaps a little bit tight?
96.
Don't go in for stereotypes, Phil, you know me. Just a little wipe of the hand there for Kerwin. Wants to make sure everything is correct before releasing the darts.
140.
And it looks as if we're going to be going the distance in the opener.
It hasn't been a bad opener, has it?
140.
Both players averaging in the 80s. And we've had 3 maximums.
Gonna have to think about this.
$81.
Last start finds the treble.
Yeah, it keeps him in a good spot because Johnson could be breathing down his neck after this visit. Needs a treble himself, really.
45.
Well, the
Davey
miss
required 140.
leaves a finish still, but it just alleviates any kind of duress on Davey.
18 for double 18. And a 114.
78.
Not to be.
Darren, you require 160.
He would expect to come back. However, he may not. Johnson is going to get a match start.
140.
Clips the bottom wire on the 160.
Davey required 36.
Threatened it. But Kerwin can stay in the game by
Game
pinning
shot on the
double 18,
sick
and that's
leg.
exactly what he
Davey
does.
Kerwin.
And, well, as predicted, if we're allowed to blow our own trumpets for a moment,
So
It's a
then
close
final leg, it's
encounter
Darren to throw first.
in the opening
Game
match
on.
of the night.
Yeah, nothing between these two. And it kind of deserved a deciding leg.
Johnson having missed
121.
the match start, what would have been a real fanfare finish with the 160 attempt.
It wasn't a million miles away either.
57.
That's not the start Davey Kerwin wanted.
There you see how close it has been between the pair of them.
137.
Nothing in the averages, nothing in the scoreline, but Johnson is putting his foot on the accelerator in this final
59.
leg.
Yeah, the start of this deciding leg kicks off with two treble visits, piling the pressure on the Scot.
136.
Make that 3 treble visits. Absolutely outstanding from DJ. 107 after 9.
32.
We saw a nice 80
Darren, you
check out from
require
Johnson earlier on. We
107.
saw a 101 from Kerwin. This would beat the lot. And it would be the best leg of the match in the last leg of the match.
Game
That
shot
is
and the
absolutely
match.
outstanding
Darren Johnson.
from Darren Johnson. A 107 in the deciding leg to win it. 4-3 over Davey Kerwin in the opener. He bags the points. But coming up after the break, we have our favourite in Group B as Darryl Pilgrim takes on Steve Brown.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break we saw Darren Johnson get over the line in style, a 12 darter and a 107 finish to get the better of David Kerwin by 4 legs to 3. Next up for us, it is Daryl Pilgrim. Now, he is the favourite of the bookmakers to go on to win week 10 here at the Super Series. He takes on Steve Brown, looking to get his Group B campaign off to a perfect start. I've already seen him this week in Group A, so what we're going to see in his second outing at the Live Lounge. Watching this one in commentary, Phil Bars and Chris Murphy.
Thank you very much, Henry, and welcome back to all our viewers
First leg, it's
on
Daryl
Sporty
to
Stuff
throw
TV
first.
and the MODUS Super
Game
Series
on.
YouTube channel. Looking forward to this contest. 2 heavyweights here in Group B. Daryl Pilgrim, the odds-on bookies' favourite, against Steve Brown, who finished
100
second in Group A. Mr. P against the Bomber. And Steve in his
100
flashy camo gear, and Daryl Pilgrim supporting his beloved Crystal Palace colours.
Yeah, will he be flying as high as an eagle
134
from the end of the evening? Or will Brown bomb on the way he did in Group A? I thought he was excellent, to be honest, most of the week.
Yeah, a little bit slow out the blocks
125
on Monday, but after that, he had opportunities, and part of him may be a little bit disappointed he's not already in the final on Saturday.
140
Yeah, he had the majority of the best performances, didn't he? A few sort of mid-90s averages, and certainly showed the Steve Brown that was, you know, back on the Pro Tour a couple of years ago.
96. Daryl, you require 127.
It's difficult to focus on his own career when he's given so much to the game in other ways, but Daryl Pilgrim looking to show why he is the favourite to win this week.
Game
and
shot
that's
on the
why
first leg. Daryl
127
Pilgrim.
in game from Pilgrim in the very first leg of his evening.
Second leg, it's Steve to throw first.
Welcome
Game
to
on.
Group B, everyone. As Daryl Pilgrim pins a 12-dart leg. And that sends a real statement to everyone else.
It's actually back-to-back
140.
12 dart legs here at the Super Series, because Darren Johnson finished with a dozen darter in beating Davy Kerwin 4-3 in the first match of the night.
177.
Purring right now is Mr. P.
$45.
I know there is a lot of debate around players that don't have tour cards. Would Daryl be in your top 5 players not to have one at the moment?
41.
I have to have a little bit longer to think about it, but he'd certainly be up there. Top 5's a very small amount, isn't it? But he's certainly staking his claim. And if he does go on and make it
86.
a third Champions Week, then it would be hard to argue, because here at the Super Series is a good measure of players without tour cards, isn't it? And how good they are. I think if you look at the lineup
57.
for Champions Week, then there are a few players that probably would be in that top 5.
Yeah, I was genuinely surprised that he didn't come through Q School the form he was in.
140.
Yeah, you never know, though. Especially now you've got other things to play in Challenge Tour, the Super Series itself, whether actually sometimes what feels like a bad darting day can be a good one. And you could go and garner more experience, more confidence.
59. Steve, you require
Return
90.
next year and pick up that golden ticket. Now, what does Brown do here? 15? He's found the treble for double 10.
70. Daryl, you require 167.
This would be a sensational shot if it goes, but it's not going to. So Steve Brown will be back to try and level up at 1 apiece.
47. Steve, you require
It's been
20.
a decent reply from Brown. Could have been caught in the crossfire, but he's bounced back. And he
Game
does
shot
get
on
the
the
leg in
second
the
leg.
ledger.
Steve Brown.
1 apiece.
Third leg, it's Daryl to throw first. Game on.
2 commanding holds of throw so far.
99.
5 averages well into the 90s. Pilgrim's nearer the ton mark.
44.
Well, this is an indication of why he's so good. So
180.
repeatable. So still, so solid.
Yeah. Again, both players. There's a lovely release, full extension.
95.
Not a lot can go wrong. There we have Darryl Pilgrim sets it and propels it to the board.
140.
That 180, his first of the match, did have a 177 in the opening leg as well, and he's absolutely battering Brown on his own throw, isn't he?
85. Darryl, you require 82.
Yeah, absolutely. That Steve Brown so far has made no inroad on the Pilgrim throw.
Game shot on the third
82
leg.
and 2,
Darryl
bullseye,
Pilgrim.
literally in the middle. The double 16, clean as you like. Darryl
Fourth leg,
Pilgrim
it's Steve to throw
averages
first.
a
Game on.
rocketed to 109 with an 11 dart leg.
Yep, first leg, 12 darter, third leg,
55.
11 darter. Not much Steve Brown can do.
$134.
And already the Steve Brown throw may be under pressure here.
60.
It is now.
Yeah, it's a stunning display so far from Darryl Pilgrim. All the ones on the average. He's actually averaging 130 on his own throw in this game.
47.
That'll win most games.
Well, certainly when you're throwing first, you'd be unfortunate to lose it.
That would take something
41.
MVG-esque to stop you.
Yeah, wasn't he good last weekend at that World Series event in Poland? Absolutely brilliant.
140.
Michael van Gerwen, who will be heading to the match play, maybe a little bit more confidence of a title defence than he might have been a week
100.
before.
Completely agree. And I think those performances settled him as well.
But he doesn't really want to stay there, but he feels he has to.
60.
Yeah, the 19 switch wouldn't have done him many favours there.
58. Darryl, you require 120.
No, it will be all up top. Single for the double.
80.
Good attempt. You could just see the way the dart was sitting. Probably would have blocked his view a little bit.
Yeah, he's just tried to go up and over, so to speak, and just aim in that general region.
60. Darryl, you require 40.
Now he has a completely clear view of double top. Double 5.
Game shot on
And
the fourth leg.
supermarket
Darryl
worker
Pilgrim.
completes the checkout. 3-1.
Here's that
Fifth leg,
breaker
it's Darryl to throw
as well.
first.
Steve
Game
Brown
on.
right up against it from here when Darryl Pilgrim was averaging in 3 figures.
$96.
Just doesn't get phased either, does he, Pilgrim? He's cool, calm and collected on that hockey.
Yeah, and we've seen that with his
140.
previous weekly wins, even his performances when he's got to Champions Weeks and big finals nights. And maybe not had the impact. He will feel he should have won one of these series, I guess, but
60.
often it's taken something special to beat him.
Completely agree.
100.
But Steve Brown not going away here. He's effectively stolen the darts here.
59.
He came closest, didn't he, on that finals night to beating Luke Littler in the previous series. It was 4-3.
57.
Yeah, that was Luke's only real scare on that finals night.
And in the previous
180.
Champions Week, he didn't quite make it to the finals night, but he looks like he's setting a marker for the finals night this week already.
Yeah, just as we said, Steve Brown was threatening that break back.
131. Darryl, you
Pilgrim
require
fires in a
106.
maximum, and this 106 is match point, but he's not going to get a go, and he says it himself. Wow.
Well, it's a chance for Brown to break.
The first straight
38.
I've seen
Steve, you
Pilgrim throw
require
tonight.
73.
Treble 19. Leaves double 8.
57.
It may not matter for Pilgrim.
Darryl, you require 68.
The shaky previous visit. The points will be his. If he can pin double 18,
Game,
which he
shot,
does.
And the match, Darryl
It's
Pilgrim.
a perfect start for Pilgrim. A very, very strong display. 4-1 over Steve Brown. He kicked off the match with a brilliant dozen darter, completed with that 127 checkout. Had an 11 dart leg in there as well. Finishes with an average of almost 97. And that is the standard set by the group favourite. Pilgrim wins 4-1. Coming next is the Battle of the Yorkshiremen as Martin Turner takes on Darren Johnson.
Every Saturday, we open our doors for our weekly finals night.
For a unique and intimate darts experience.
Meet the Dart Stars and even the team off the telly
Here at our purpose-built venue in Portsmouth.
every single Saturday evening.
Tickets can be booked via this QR code
or at www.dartshop.tv for a very small booking fee.
Follow us at MSS Darts on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and TikTok.
For all the latest ticketing news.
All you need to do, log on, book, turn up, and the action gets underway from 7:30 p.m.
So what are you waiting for?
Get your tickets to the darts.
We look forward to welcoming you to the MODUS Super Series very soon.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break, Mr. P came out with a statement performance. Darryl Pilgrim getting the better of Steve Brown by 4 legs to 1, average just under 97. And he kicked off with a 1-2-7 and game. Well, next up for us, it is two good friends going toe-to-toe on the oche as Martin Turner takes on Darren Johnson. And with two friends on the oche, it's time to say, how you doing to the guys in the commentary box. It's Chris and Phil.
Thank you very much, Henry. Travel buddies, roommates, you name it, these two are as thick as thieves.
First leg, it's Martin to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, they are good friends who, as Phil says, travel around various darting circuits
93.
together. The pair of them have been doing a fair bit in the WDF recently, and both have actually picked up titles along the way, haven't they?
Yeah, Martin was
140.
saying earlier, it's the first time he's qualified for Lakeside.
Yes, Isle of Man, the success for him, and
140.
Final, semi-final with the Welsh as well.
yeah, and Darren Johnson winning in Northern Ireland last year. Both
90.
committed to the World Seniors Darts Tour as well. That open to any player over the age of 50. They'll
44.
be no stranger to playing each other, but often I would assume that their matches would be practice games and would lack that little bit of competitive edge, although some people tend to
79.
have even more of that against their mates.
Yeah, I'm sure they would have shared thousands of hours playing against each other over the years.
60.
There are a handful of documented meetings between the pair. Actually played in a Pro Tour match back in 2009, and Martin Turner won that one.
164.
Q School 2012. Johnson won that. A World Championship qualifier in 2016 also went the way of DJ, but the most recent meeting,
58.
just 2 years
Darren
ago,
Require 52.
went the way of Turner. They did also appear in the same group here at the Super Series last time they were here as well.
Game shot on the
Clinical.
first leg. Darren Johnson.
From Darren Johnson, break a throw, takes out the 50-do for a 14 dart leg.
Second leg, it's Darren to throw first. Game on.
So far in the early stages here, DJ is sending out a real statement that yes, Pilgrim may be favourite,
60.
but if Johnson gets points on the board before they meet, that result may not matter so
100.
much.
$78.
Runs for cover and finds it. But a big visit here from Martin Turner. And they effectively stolen the darts back.
140.
That's exactly what he done. Kicks off ton 140. Asking questions here of DJ.
95.
Yeah, when they played here at the Super Series last time, Johnson had a 4-3 win on the Thursday night and a 4-2 win on the Friday night. They were both
131.
in Group B then as well. That was in week 9 of the previous series. Should come back down here to try and leave himself
136.
on the
Martin
big fish, but
required
he's done better than that.
130.
Single 20 for a dart at the ball.
90.
That's
Darren,
a
you require
good leave.
132.
Nowhere near the target, but it's a good leave unless Johnson can pin the champagne shot. Another. Or 42 to leave tops.
Game shot
That
on
is
the second leg.
absolutely
Darren
outstanding
Johnson.
from DJ. 1-3-2, and the respect there between the pair for the fist tap. But Martin Johnson
Third leg, it's
probably would have
Martin to
fancied
throw
coming
first.
back
Game
at
on.
tops.
Yeah, it's got to hurt more when your opponent's waiting and then he does something like that. But I think that was pragmatic as well from Darren Johnson, not being enticed by the bullseye for the
28.
flashy finish. Going for the bigger target with the second dart, I think that was quite sensible.
Yeah, I think the position of the dart also helped. The fact it was in the bottom segment of the ball, where if it was at the top,
85.
I think he may have stayed there.
It's another big finish. We've seen a few of those tonight already.
180.
Seen a few of those tonight already as well.
$97.
Yeah, this one purring along nicely. Martin Turner averaging nearly 97, but Darren Johnson
140.
over the 101 mark.
Well, this time Turner is going to get
59.
half
Martin,
a
you
dozen
require
darts from
153.
153. And now he knows that he's going to get a chance to win this leg. One treble in this visit means that he's very likely
93.
to have darts at double. He'll have two, barring a disaster.
Yeah, Johnson was looking to apply some pressure, but that pressure is not going to materialise here.
40. Martin,
He
you
can't leave a
require
finish.
60.
And it's the man once known as Dynamite who's having a bit of a disaster himself.
Game shot on the third leg.
A rather explosive
Martin
leg
Turner.
from his opponent. Turner replies with a 15-darter of his own, and it's a really good game. This really good standard
Fourth
between
leg,
the
it's
pair.
Darren to throw first. Game
Yeah,
on.
so far we've had 14, 15, 15.
$96.
There you see how good the level is between the pair of them, both in the mid-90s.
140.
Martin Turner just seems to be finding a groove right now. Seems to be in the ascendancy.
44.
Gone missing a little bit, hasn't he, Darren?
Yeah, since that 1-3-2, he's not found that same level.
95.
A
100.
little bit better, but Turner once again is getting his nose in front here. Should be coming for the 19s.
58.
Yeah, in the last leg and a bit, 10 points has dropped off the Johnson average. It's just completely lost the scoring power.
$57.
Again, a trebleless visit.
Yeah, Turner looking the more comfortable suddenly.
100.
Just thinking he's still in position where a couple of trebles in one visit and he can bail himself out, but it's
84.
not really
Martin, you
happening for
require
Darren Johnson.
108.
108 for a level game. It's not going to happen.
88.
But the coverage on the treble
Darren, you
16
require 120.
tees up double 10 if he returns.
Well, don't forget, Johnson took out the 1-3-2 when Turner was waiting on a double. He won't take out
60.
the 120.
Martin, you require
the parity
20.
and effectively to take control of the tie.
Yeah, because he has the darts. But he's gone round the
No
houses.
score. Darren, you require 60.
Big moment here. Is that a blocker, though? No, but he doesn't hit the target. Clips the bottom wire. He's going to get one dart at double 10.
Game shot on the fourth
Huge
leg.
moments here
Darren
in this
Johnson.
contest. Martin Turner absolutely bossed that leg. but couldn't take out the opportunity
Fifth
when it
leg,
was
it's
there.
Martin to throw first.
Darren Johnson
Game on.
found a holder throw from nowhere, Chris.
And it's twice tonight where we've seen him actually take a step back in important moments in matches. His
60.
reading of the game is very good, isn't it? He knew it could have been a crucial leg, so he made sure he composed himself before delivering the dart into the double. And he's done that
36.
very well in this match, to be fair. 3 out of 4 on the outer ring.
Yeah, showing all his experience here.
44.
Especially over the last leg and a bit when the scoring power had gone missing.
96.
Yeah, that brilliant 1-3-2 was a sign of the fine finishing, and, well, a 3 out of 4 is even.
59.
In a way misleading, because every time he's thrown for a double, Martin Turner has not returned in that leg.
Absolutely.
42.
You just feel Martin Turner needs a big visit here
100.
to keep Johnson at bay. Ton was the bare minimum there. But a 2-treble visit here from Johnson. It's not going to happen. But it would have made life awkward.
24.
Yeah, 2 legs where Johnson's really stood up and delivered that 1-3-2 that would have felt like a kick in the
30.
mucks, I suppose. And then a leg where he's just seen his opponent squander dart after dart at double and stolen it.
45.
Disgusted with that visit, though. And where
100.
he didn't find that scoring visit, it just relieved the pressure on Martin Turner.
Well, he's going to leave some kind of finish.
140.
But it's a much better finish than he might have left. So
108.
this may well have to go. The way Johnson's been finishing, he's hunting down the treble 16, but has gone next door.
68. Darren, you require 118.
1 treble. Single for a dart at a double. There's the single. Can't find the treble though, Murph.
And maybe, just maybe on that occasion, could have looked at 48 himself.
28.
Yeah, it was a block
Martin,
bed,
you
wasn't it?
require 40.
Would have left the bullseye, but a shot at the ball is better than no shot at a double.
Game shot on the 5th
And
leg.
Turner's
Martin Turner.
Double goes in. So the game continues. 3-2 to Darren Johnson. He does have the darts.
6th leg, it's Darren to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, and I'm sure inside he'll be thinking that, where's my game gone? Because at 2-0, he was purring along lovely.
Yeah, completely disappeared.
80.
The DJ losing his beat in this game.
$180.
And there is some incredible rhythm from Martin Turner opening with a maximum against the darts as
45.
he bids to force a decider.
Of course, if he can force that decider, he will have the darts in
57.
that 7th and final leg. And right now, he has the Johnson throw under all kinds of pressure, forcing mistakes like that.
85.
A lot of shoulder involved as it flies into the 5.
The first game of the night involved Darren Johnson
60.
and it ended 4-3 in his favour. That was against Davy Kerwin. Darryl Pilgrim was rather more dominant in a 4-1 dismissal of Steve Brown. And Kerwin and Pilgrim play next in game
97.
4 of tonight's 10. But will it be after this leg or will there be another?
60.
Remember, if you do have anything for us, at MSS Darts on all social media platforms.
58. Martin, you require 144.
Something big to stay in it or something big to win it?
45. Darren, you
It's a poor
require
last start.
136.
Yeah, left himself with 99 problems. 3-darter rather than a 2 for Turner.
60.
You got yourself into this
Martin,
mess,
you
Martin.
require
You
99.
get yourself out of it.
Downstairs first. Finds the 57. Or a dart now at double 16.
83.
That seemed very quick to me.
Darren, you require 76.
And it opens a door for Darren to get the job done. It'll be 1 dart at tops to beat his mates.
36.
But he can't quite
Martin, you
cross the
require
line.
16.
One match dart has come and gone.
Game shot on the 6th
And Martin Turner rescues the situation, breaks back, levels up at 3 apiece, and is now favourite to win this game, having been 3-1
It's Martin
behind.
to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, went the long way round in that leg, having kicked it off at a maximum. Speaking of which,
140.
not quite, but he did allow Darren Johnson a dart to win the game before going out.
80.
Again, he's made the strongest start here.
Yeah, from 3-1 down, he just seems to have relaxed.
100.
Yeah, Johnson had his best spell at the start of the match. Looked like Turner's had his
125.
towards the end.
Yeah, and that 2 treble visit from Johnson just keeps him in touch.
140.
But he's still relying on Martin Turner missing.
It's been a night of fancy finishes so far.
140.
And I'm going to say it. I
Martin
fancy
required
Turner for the 1-2-1.
121.
The Johnny Clayton.
Treble 17. And the ball. And the ball, Martin.
96.
He was close.
Darren, you require 156.
I wonder if it ever crossed his mind not to go for it.
I don't think so, because
81.
they're so good mates. I think the respect
Martin, you
between them
required
is always
25.
there. But 25 to win it. Double 12. Now he's chasing.
19.
2 match darts have come and gone in that
Darren, you
combination.
require
3 in
75.
total.
Similar situation to the previous leg. Johnson will get at least 1 dart here to win the match, having missed 1 to win it in the last leg. And it's at tops, which he missed in the
Game,
previous
shot,
leg.
and
This
the
time
match.
he hits.
Darren Johnson.
But only after Turner himself had squandered a couple of darts. In fact, 3 to get there himself. The 1 at the bullseye. And then the 2 at the outer ring. And after those misses, Darren Johnson crept in and got the job done because his finishing in the game was absolutely superb. That 1-3-2 checkout to start it. 4 out of 6 on the doubles. Despite being outscored by his good pal, his finishing was excellent. And he ends with a second 4-3 win of the night. Coming next, it's Davy Kerwin against Daryl Pilgrim.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break, Darren Johnson got the better of Martin Turner by 4 legs to 3. It wasn't quite a champagne finish. It was a little bit supernova, but he got that tops on the fly, and he is quite fly at the minute because 2-4-3 victory season to the summit of the table. Sandwich in the middle of that was a 4-1 success for Daryl Pilgrim against Steve Brown. Dave Kerwin lost his first game against Darren Johnson 4-3, and it is Kerwin and Pilgrim who we're going to see in action in our 4th match of the evening. Watching this one in the commentary box is Chris and Phil.
Thank you very much, Henry. Looking forward to this one. Daryl Pilgrim, sensational in his opener. Can he repeat the feat here? Average 96.69. You just get the impression that Davey may have to up his levels here.
Yeah, Pilgrim's certainly showing that he's the man to beat, but as Henry was just saying, Darren Johnson unbeaten after half of his fixtures now tonight.
First leg, it's Davey to throw first.
And it could be that kind of group, couldn't it, when whoever wins the 4 threes is going to be the one that sneaks through to finals night. Remember, only one player there so far, the Cube, Rennie Idams, who won Group A
54
on Wednesday. And in Group C this afternoon, 2 sharing the lead with 4 wins from 5, Jim Meyer and Rob Grundy on debut.
96.
For me, that's a race between 3. John Worsley, the other one in the picture. But all will be revealed tomorrow.
99.
What we do know is that Darren Johnson is definitely going to be in the picture tomorrow. Pretty sure Daryl Pilgrim is, so it's about high time that the other players
44.
started picking up some points.
Absolutely, and you'd rather have points on the board and make the rest chase. Forget games in hand and all that.
100.
But I know it's only the first leg
74.
and may take a little bit of time, but Daryl Pilgrim not started the way he did in his first.
No, and Kerwin would be well advised to jump all over that because you would expect
100.
Pilgrim to have some kind of burst.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where you're expecting it to come. It's just a matter of when. Almost back in the day when Phil and Michael in their heyday used to give you an opportunity. You were expecting them to fire.
148.
Like, take advantage while it's there.
Yeah, you speak to players about that, though, and they say that brings its own pressure because you know you have to hit.
140.
That's pretty decent from
Darren
Davey.
Reply, 150.
But I wouldn't put this past Pilgrim either. Treble 19. And another one would have left double 18, but it is a simple double 4.
90.
For his Scottish
Davey require
counterpart.
8.
To hold. That looks a good guide. Oh,
No
wow.
score.
That must have left the hand funny.
Daryl requires 60.
Yeah, wrong segment, meaning he didn't even get a third dart. And Pilgrim looking to pick his pocket,
20.
but can't.
Davey, you require 8.
First time we've seen any real emotion from Pilgrim. Wasn't happy there.
Yeah, he wasn't really anywhere near, was he? That was probably the frustration, not just the fact he missed, but
No score.
by how much he missed.
Daryl, you require 40.
I will give you my personal guarantee he'll be closer this time.
You're getting nervous now.
Well, he can't get much closer than that without going in.
20.
But he's managed to go further away.
And the only
Davey
surprise
require
is there
8.
is he missed.
Still shaking his head. He snatched the darts out the board. Very animated over the shoulder of Kerwin there, but he's still not over the line. 10 darts missed between them now. Make that 11.
4.
Wow. What a shoddy start.
Daryl, you require 20.
In fact, 13 across the exchanges in this opening leg.
Surely he just comes off of that one
Game
and does.
shot on the first leg.
There is a breaker
Daryl
throw
Pilgrim.
in the opener, but Davey Kerwin will be scratching his head because the scoring phase
Second leg, it's Daryl to
of that
throw
leg was
first.
superb.
Game on.
Pilgrim started the previous match with a 12 darter. This one, he breaks in 23, but it doesn't matter how many darts you throw. Whoever hits the
96.
double first that wins the leg.
Whether it's a 9, 12 or 30 dart leg, it's still one.
Yeah, I've won myself
45.
with one of those options.
The 12?
Let the viewers make their mind up. I do wonder as well, you mentioned the likes of Van
140.
Kerwin, Taylor. I wonder if Pilgrim holds that kind of force in terms of Super Series darts. Because
85.
there haven't been many better than Daryl Pilgrim.
Yeah, I fully agree with you there. I certainly think that when players see him in their group, they think twice. I think there's a few in that category,
133.
and he's certainly one of them.
We saw a fabulous 1-3-2 finish from Darren Johnson earlier tonight. This is a much better leg
58.
from Daryl Pilgrim.
132.
But he doesn't have to start on the bullseye with Kerwin way back.
92.
And that's okay. In fact, it's more than okay because there's not a lot Davy Kerwin can do here.
No, and it goes back to what we were saying, that you had to make hay while the sun was shining,
96.
and the Scot didn't.
Darrow, you required 40. Game shot on the second
Yeah,
leg.
here he is. Here he
Daryl
comes.
Pilgrim.
13 darter on throw for Daryl Pilgrim. I might look back through
Third leg, it's Davey to throw first. Game on.
his legs tonight and see how high his average would be, because I've already counted a 13, a 12 and an 11 across his first
134.
1.5 matches.
Yeah, another one that player would have been in that
100.
group. Obviously, he's not with us anymore because he went on to win his tour card. But Graham Usher, another one that I'd put in that bracket for Super Series players that if you saw the name, you'd be like,
85.
not him.
Yeah, I felt that Andy Barton's had a bit of that about him when he was
100.
here. And it took Luke Littler until finals night to beat him.
It took a special performance to beat Andy Barnes.
140.
Looking forward to seeing him again soon, hopefully. I think we will be seeing next week's players a little later tonight.
96. Davey required 142.
For all the Super Series records that get broken on a regular basis, we'll come back to that in a second.
122.
Missed another dart. That was at the end of a huge combination for Kerwin.
Yeah, less likely that he'll be getting broken here, but he did miss, remember, 8 darts at double in his opening leg
100. Davey required 20.
when he was throwing first. That one at tops of the 142 made it 9. That miss at double tens made it 10. I'm sure you can all count.
15.
That's a dozen.
Darrow, you require 105.
A dirty dozen from Davy Kerwin.
And I expect Pilgrim to get a dart here. He will get one at double 16.
Game shot on the
That
third
is
leg.
going to hurt
Daryl Pilgrim.
Davy Kerwin, because every time he's missed, Pilgrim has punished. It's 3-0.
Fourth leg, it's Daryl to throw first.
And now it's an absolute mountain to climb for the Scot.
Therein lies the problem.
140.
12 attempts, no hits. And Pilgrim has filled his boots.
Yeah, he's given himself opportunities, that's for sure. But, well, I was going back to what I was saying before we got rudely interrupted by them
58.
going for doubles. It's still remarkable that that record average from week 1, when we were still the live league, still stands to this day from Jason Askew.
Yeah,
46.
remarkable. Luke Littler came close with that final performance a few weeks ago, didn't he? Had the best average here in this venue.
97.
I think we will see it broken pretty sharpish, actually. I think the standard of player is getting better and better, and just going to take one performance. I don't think it'll be long before we see the 120 mark broken here.
79.
I agree with you. That 120 mark is going to get breached. We've had countless opportunities where it's been a couple of darts away.
61.
So Pilgrim looking to close out another convincing win, and he's certainly looking. I was going to say
100.
like the price he was at the start of the night, but maybe actually should have been shorter.
He should have been, but I know he's 3-0 up, but he should be behind. I know that sounds daft.
85.
Yeah, you consider
Darry
all the
McCoy,
darts that
136.
Davey has missed on throw. It should be 2-1 to Kerwin, really. Although I always say should with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because hitting the double is
58.
part of the leg, isn't it?
Yeah, could have been behind.
Absolutely, but might win the match when he returns. 78 required to do so for a
85.
4-0 thrashing.
Darry requires 78.
54 for 24. Dart 1 hits. And Dart
Game,
2 does
shot,
as well.
and the match.
Darryl Pilgrim serves the whitewash. 84.14 average for Mr. P as he goes back-to-back 2 from 2. But David Kerwin will look back at all those missed darts, add a double as a huge missed opportunity in this one. But coming up after the break, we're going to see Steve Brown against Martin Turner.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where the Eagle has well and truly landed. Darrell Pilgrim, a 4-0 victor against David Kerwin in our fourth match of the evening. 88.41 average and 4 out of 10, and it came to the finishes. So we have reached the halfway house on our Thursday night action here at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth, and it sees a return to the stage of Steve Brown. He's going to be taking on Martin Turner, both players looking for their first win of the night. Watching this one in the commentary box, Phil and Chris.
Thank you very much, Henry. And yes, it is an important match in a way, but when you consider that two players have shared all the points between them so far tonight, it actually might not be as pivotal as it could have been and not as damaging as it could have been in a defeat. It could be one of those groups where actually a small haul of points could sneak you into third place.
40.
Yeah, especially if the top two run away with it. As you say, it could be maybe as low as 6 that squeezes you in.
I always remember the
82.
week that Chris Mason played and Paul Nicholson played in the Group B of that week, and he was only on 2 and then 4 points for quite a long time, but still went into the last match with a possibility of getting through.
140.
Yeah, because he was quite surprised that normally Nico's meticulous at his maths and he likes to know
97.
everything that's going on, but he was oblivious to the fact that he could have still qualified.
Yeah, and you can forgive players for assuming with just a couple of wins with one game to go that you can't, but could be one of those groups where we will
91.
keep you informed of all the permutations, certainly as tomorrow night goes on, but it might be that two players do go away, and these little battles will be key in
100.
who gets third place. Will it be Steve Brown, who was very good in Group A? Will it be Martin Turner, who did miss starts, of course, to win his opening match? And it would have been a different picture completely.
48.
Steve throwing a very retro flight. Always reminds me of a kid growing up that they were the go-to ones.
Well, Turner
82.
throws a very unorthodox start, doesn't he? Completely unique setup. All sorts of different grip in his barrels and a small flight shape.
100.
Yeah,
Martin, you require
Looks like a moulded flight
140.
as well, which is obviously a heavier back end to the dart as well.
It's quite rare, isn't it, to have a smaller moulded flight? A lot of players use the standard
100.
mould, but not many
See, you require 82.
use the mini ones. 17. Tees up tops.
62.
Same target
Martin,
for
you
Turner.
require 40.
So B for an early break. Down to 10s. Can he work off of that?
20.
The answer is no. You can look all you like, Martin, but it's not in.
Steve, you require 20.
Can Steve show him how it's done?
Game shot on
He
the
can.
first leg.
And the
Steve
weird thing
Brown.
about that is that Martin Turner's darts at double 10 in a way were better than the one that Steve Brown threw and hit. It squeaked right in the bottom
Second
corner.
leg, it's Martin's to throw first.
Assuming he
Game
was
on.
aiming for the middle of the bed, then he's actually missed what he was aiming for by a bigger margin, but hit the double and won the leg.
Yeah, Martin Turner's 2 at 10s, both
57.
hugging the wire. 2 well-thrown darts.
Also now needs to keep a calm head, Martin Turner, because of
29.
course he missed a couple of darts in the last leg of his previous match, losing to his good pal Darren Johnson. He's now missed a couple of darts, or a handful of darts in
58.
the first leg of this match. It'll be a test of his mentality and resolve.
42.
Steve Brown just not firing at the moment. Yes, he's 1-0 up, but it's not vintage.
76.
Just dragging left a lot at the moment.
85. $140.
2 fantastic darts there from Martin Turner to leave the big fish.
100.
Yeah, we're
Martin,
certainly
you
not
require
seeing the same Steve Brown we
170.
saw in Group A yet.
Or even the start of his first game, because the first
180.
couple of legs he played very well.
Yeah, needs to find a couple like that. He's still winning the match, of course, but that looks set to change.
55. Martin, you
Turner on
require 52.
and 2 visits to do it. Interesting to leave double 18.
16.
Again, 2 right on the wire.
Not something you see very often that way on 52.
$140.
Well, how Steve
Martin, you
Brown got
require
around
36.
that was expert, almost magical.
Now there is pressure on this. No one likes to switch to 9s.
18.
Well, this is
So
becoming
you
a problem
require
now, isn't it,
50.
for Martin Turner? He's missed his last 10 darts at double, including 8 in this match. And Steve Brown, who was not in this leg, had no right to win this leg
10.
and hasn't yet.
Martin, you require 18.
But Turner's still in a tricky spot. Does he split or does he just go straight
Game
for it?
shot on the second
Straight for
leg.
it, straight
Martin
in it.
Turner.
And that just ends that trend of missing doubles.
Yeah, Martin Turner needed that because it was becoming a problem.
Third leg, it's Steve to throw first. Game on.
It was a leg he completely bossed. But Steve Brown did have 2 darts to double his lead.
135.
Well, this match brings us to the halfway point of the night. Darren Johnson will take on Daryl Pilgrim after it. Brown returns to face Davy Kerwin before
85.
Turner takes on Pilgrim. Then Brown's evening ends against Johnson. Turner plays in the last match of the night against the Scotsman.
30.
I'm not sure if Steve Brown's completely settled here because there are so many darts in the 5, which
57.
says to me either the dart isn't positioned in the hand properly because he's pulling on release.
Or even there, the first darts, it's in the treble, but it's way over to the left.
99.
I'll see Martin Turner's darts as well. They do land really flat in the board. Actually, the kind of darts that you can go over or under.
121.
That's the perfect first dart for Steve Brown.
140.
Yeah, nestled a bedfellow underneath it, so we'll have the first go at a checkout. And Turner's all over the place, so Brown will have all the time in the world.
26. Steve, you require 97.
Tops at the end of the combo. That's wild.
Game shot on the
But it
third
recovers the
leg.
situation.
Steve Brown.
We get a little fist pump from Steve Brown there. A bit of emotion. 15 dart.
Fourth leg,
hold
it's
and
Martin to
throw,
throw
and
first.
the bomber leads again.
Game on.
Yeah, we've said many times, you know, he has many interests,
60.
does so much away from the actual hockey itself for other players. The JDC initially, now the
95.
ADC, that's Junior Darts Corporation and Amateur Darts Circuit. But you can't take the competitor out of a competitor, can you?
140.
It's always going to be in there.
Yeah.
Look at Mace. That he came here. I'm just a commentator. No expectations.
60.
But once you step down that line, it's like a switch being flicked. It's always there.
It must be a proud week as well, I think, for Steve
97.
Brown, because it would have almost been poetic if he'd ended up in Group C. When you look at it, Adam Mould, the regional director of the ADC, Chris Wickenden, who's done great things on the amateur darts circuit himself,
140.
Jim Meyer and Tom Becker, both ADC Europe representatives, and then Rob Grundy, who is right up there at the top of the rankings himself in the Northeast.
Yeah. Needs to find the treble here.
59.
Can't
Martin,
do
you
it.
require
So
110.
Martin Turner is in pole position to level us up at 2 apiece here.
40. Steve, you require 147.
It's on. It's on.
Game
It's in.
shot on the fourth
Steve
leg.
Brown.
Steve Brown.
With the 147 break, leaving Martin Turner snookered here at the Super Series.
Back-to-back 15 dart
Fifth
legs
leg, it's Steve to throw
for
first.
the bomber.
Game
97 and 147. Stuff you see at the Crucible.
Yeah, and it was worthy of Applause as well.
120.
Oh, and he could have been following the 147 with a 9 there. That is on the floor. One of those moments here. If he goes 180 again, I think
45.
we should adjust the score and give it him.
No one says a 9 has to be done in an order.
Well, in soft tip, he'd have been on it, wouldn't he?
60.
In soft tip darts, if it hits the target, it records the score, whether it ends up bouncing out or not.
60.
He is on 3-2-1, but after 6 starts.
100.
And he seems to have sorted out that technical issue he had early on, because the last leg and a bit, the darts have been so much straighter than what we'd seen early on in this game.
60.
Yeah, it's turning into a dominant display from Steve Brown, but it's actually Martin Turner who's nowhere near the level that he was against Darren Johnson for most of that match.
140.
In the low to mid-90s. In this one, he's in the low 70s.
Yeah, the bomber has made his move.
42.
And is he about
Steve,
to complete the
require
blitz?
81.
It will be a hat-trick of combination checkouts. Doesn't have to go for the 12. He can go for the treble 10. He gets it for double 16.
49.
Can't quite finish with a hat-trick of 15 darters and a hat-trick of nice combination checkouts, but he will return.
100.
No
Steve,
pressure.
require 32.
Double 16 for the bomber. And his first 2 points in Group
Game,
B.
shots,
Second
and the
dart,
match,
there it is. Steve Brown seals a 4-1 victory. 84.03 average for Brown in that one. It's his first points, that 147, the highlight. Coming up after the break, we're going to see Daryl Johnson against Daryl Pilgrim.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. We're halfway through our evening action here on Thursday night at the Live Lounge in Portsmouth. Phil Bars is up on the balcony to assess what we've seen this evening. These are the results from our action so far. And what we're seeing already is a couple of players really dominate the group.
They are, but also the ones that haven't got points have had opportunities, is what I will say. That you look at the table, and yes, it does say that these players have got points, but it's not been as one-sided as perhaps that looks. But look, Daryl Pilgrim has been the standout. He was the favourite from the off, and he's showing that for a reason. He's been outstanding so far.
Well, Darren Johnson is the case in point in players picking up points, but hasn't been convincing. 2 4-3 victories so far in his evening. And well, his first game against David Kerwin, he had to rely on this 107 finish to get the job done. Yeah,
stunning finish. But again, that one could have gone either way early on, but Johnson found a moment of magic to win it in that deciding leg. But Kerwin has had chances. But the 1-3-2 here, it's a bit of a weird one because this was the highlight and the moment of magic, but from there he kind of switched off after that and lost his rhythm and ended up falling over the line from a dominant position.
Him and Martin are both good friends. There's maybe a little bit too much respect shown on the stage.
Yeah, possibly. Look, they know each other's games inside out. They travel together, they room together, so they know each other's games like the back of their hand. And yeah, maybe there was a little bit too much respect, but from 2-0 it was a strange game because then Martin Turner went on and had match darts and missed them.
Well, the other standout player so far this evening has been Daryl Pilgrim. Mr. P has been Mr. W so far tonight. 2 wins from his matches so far, dropping the solitary leg in the process, and he kicked off with our favourite 1-2-7 in game.
Yeah, look, against Steve Brown, he was dominant and played fabulous stuff and thoroughly deserved this one. His second game against David Kerwin was a weird one because you look at the scoreline, it says 4-0, and you instantly assume that it was one-way traffic. But Kerwin had huge opportunities in that game. I think he was 0 from 12 on the outer ring. So, look, you can only play what's in front of you, and Kerwin's missed, hasn't taken his chances, and Pilgrim has. But he is still a little bit vulnerable. It's not the all-conquering Mr. P just yet.
But he's been getting the wins, and that's important when it comes to the league table because he is the man out on top. The maximum legs difference you can get after 2 matches is +8. He's on +7. Darren Johnson also on 4 points. But Steve Brown in that previous match before the break, getting the better of Martin Turner, is the only other player on the board.
Yeah, he started a little bit slow, but the last 2 legs was more the Steve Brown we saw from Group A. He sort of had, I think, a little technical issue because he was swinging into the 5s a lot, but the back end of the game he was really, really good, and those 2 points are huge because it puts him in touch, especially when these 2 go head-to-head next.
Most certainly. So, before we look ahead to our next battle, let's see what's going to happen next week at the Super Series. Week 11 is going to be, well, jam-packed with absolute quality. You've got the reigning World Masters champion in Wesley Plaisir. You've got John Henderson, who, of course, won a week here early on this year. He's going to be playing at the World Seniors in September as well. Jared Cole, who's got such a CV in this competition. And we're going to have another ADC Oceanic representative in Group A in Robbie King. What a lineup.
Yeah, absolute fabulous lineup. Group A just jumps off the page. Mike Huntley, we've seen him produce in senior events as well. John Henderson is the standout name for me. He's just got a call up to the seniors match play in York. Been playing on the Pro Tour as well, playing some good stuff. Good to see Wesley Plaisir here. We tried to get him a lot last year, but he couldn't for work commitments and everything like that. So good to see him. Jared Cole always delivers when it matters as well. He always finds a way to get himself to finals night. So looking forward to see him. But Group C catches my eye as well because you look at the name, Andy Hamilton. Last time he was here, it was probably the best version of Andy Hamilton we'd seen for a couple of years. So I'm excited to see him return.
He had a dart actually make it to Champions League last time out against John Worsley, Alan Talon, Justin Hood, the other players there. And then as far as Group B is concerned, well, it's not going to be quiet because Richard North is going to be in the building. But that is what we're going to look forward to next week at the Super Series. Next up for us is the 2 players at the top of the table. Darren Johnson in action up against Daryl Pilgrim. Someone's got to go. Phil's going to make his way down to the commentary box to describe the action with Chris Murphy.
Thank you very much, Henry. Yeah, indeed, the 2 at the top, the 2 that have been winning machines so far, albeit in rather different fashions. Darren Johnson getting over the line by the odd leg in each of his victories. Wins against Davy Kerwin and his good friend Martin Turner. While
First
Pilgrim
leg, it's Darren to throw
pummeled
first.
his opponents
Game
into
on.
submission, dropping just 1 leg. That was against Steve Brown. And that was in his opening match, his second game. He won 4-0 against Kerwin, who did miss opportunities.
180.
No missing, though, for Darren Johnson. No messing by Darren Johnson, opening the encounter with a maximum.
57.
Carry on. Well, the collective boos are ringing out at home, I feel sure. Well, this would be the first leg that Pilgrim has lost in 8 because it was a second leg of the match that he lost
96.
against Brown earlier tonight. Johnson charging out of the blocks.
Yeah, I didn't see it, but as I was on the way down the stairs, I heard Charlie bellowing out the maximum.
100.
Yeah, we saw the 1-2-7 replayed from Pilgrim earlier on. It'll actually, in a couple of weeks, it'll be the 9-year anniversary of that unorthodox 127 in
Darren,
game
you
call.
require 121.
How time flies. Will it be 121 in game for Johnson? The answer is emphatically no after the dart strays into the skinny 5.
26.
And actually, he's only managed to score 26, which it doesn't open the door for Pilgrim as such, but it at least leaves it unlocked.
$100. Darren, you require 95.
I'm going to ask your opinion on this in a minute, Murph. Let's see
45.
what the outcome is
Darren, you
first.
require 114.
14 for tops.
94. Darren, you require 50.
Pilgrim misses the opportunity to win the leg, missing tops. Johnson absolutely loves tops.
Game shot on the first
and he
leg.
nails it.
Darren
To
Johnson.
take the opener.
Yeah, he's taken the opener and he's kind of got away with it. But on the 95,
Second leg,
with
it's
Darryl
Darryl
Pilgrim
to throw
on a
first.
finish, would you be going the ball first?
Yeah, I think he's probably made 2 bad decisions there. Not going the ball first is the first of them, and then having committed to going
134.
for the treble and hit a single, then double is a better chance of winning the leg than going for a treble and a double.
140.
The ball shot to give yourself a chance, and then the double shot to give yourself the best chance, having missed. And then after that, he
137.
had 75 left and left himself 50. So, in fact, I'm going to increase his bad decision making to 3. But what do I know? He's 1-0 up.
60.
Yeah, 1-0 up with 3 bad decisions.
He's got another game to play after this
140.
against Steve Brown. So he's got the 2 players who've also got points on the board tonight. It could end up being an evening of 2 halves for Darren Johnson, or it could end up
140. Darren
quite the
required
night.
90.
for DJ.
Yeah, DJ's at the crossroads. But Pilgrim looking to level up with the ball.
54.
I was
Darren, you
thinking
require
whether or not he would go for
161.
that. Percentage-wise, he probably shouldn't have, but he's actually got the best outcome, really.
Yeah, happy accident leaving the double 18. But you see more and more players now playing that percentage and not going for the ball.
82. Darryl, you
Yeah, I
require 36.
Particularly early in a match, it's a good player. I don't know if
Game shot on the second leg.
it
Darryl
can be too
Pilgrim.
risky saying a last leg decider. Been a few players bitten by that, but
Third leg,
Pilgrim's
it's Darren to throw first.
happy
Game on.
accident, as Phil called it. Left that double 18 and he hit it for a 13 darter. Again, another brilliant leg on his own throw.
Yeah, so dominant on his
140.
own darts is Darryl Pilgrim that if he gets to finals night, I say if, I think he will, but he's obviously not there yet.
125.
Someone's going to have to produce a special performance to beat him, especially if he has the darts in those knockout games.
Well, we've had a variety of experts
40.
and pundits in this week. Matthew Edgar on Monday, Laura Turner on Wednesday, yourself today, Phil. And the other two have both picked Daryl Pilgrim to win the week. Is that where you are as well?
41.
Given what I've seen, I find it very hard to oppose him. Look, over the best of 7, anything can happen. That all the players are capable of rattling off 12, 13 and things like that. But he is the standout in the field. And if he produces what he is producing, I don't see anyone stopping him.
Yeah, odds on to win the group, favourite to win the week. But Darren Johnson was the outsider for this group and could yet remain unbeaten after 3.
The other thing I will say, though, is
85.
being such a short odds-on favourite produces a different kind of pressure. So that's something else he's going to have to deal with.
Yeah, to be honest, most players that have ever turned up to the Super Series, apart from those that got a massive reputation, were allowed to go under the radar for a while. Pilgrim now is not afforded that luxury.
29.
Everybody knows about him now. However, the one area he might have to scrub up is when he's not throwing first, because he's been absolutely amazing on his own throw and quite the opposite against the darts at times.
100.
Absolutely.
Darren, you require 76.
So Johnson to keep the advantage. Gets 2.
Game
Needs
shot
only
the third
1.
lay. Darren Johnson.
A pair of 17 dart legs on his own
Fourth
throw.
leg, it's Daryl to throw
For DJ,
first.
gives him a 2-1 lead.
And again, here comes Pilgrim. Perfect from the off. He'll go 12 to 15 darts. There's no doubt about that. What he's been doing all night on throw. But Johnson doesn't need to break in this match.
But you just
45.
feel that Pilgrim will create an opportunity on the Johnson throw. It's whether he takes it or not, but you feel that there will be at least one chance.
Yeah, he's already done better than anybody else tonight against Mr. P.
93.
Steve Brown got 1 leg. David Kerwin didn't manage any.
$60.
And again, Pilgrim comfortable here on his own darts.
$100.
Gets 100, but doesn't leave a finish. Even the 180, though, from Johnson would not have left
140.
an outshot for him. So still fancying Pilgrim to go out in 15 or fewer.
Needs to find a treble.
56.
Doesn't. Does that just open the door slightly?
2 trebles and pressure's on, isn't it? And that looks very inviting to get exactly that.
140.
Okay.
Darren
Question
require
asked.
112.
He's not going to get a dart.
56. Darren, you
DJ
require
looking at
116.
The 116 for a potential huge breaker throw. He's going to get a dart. It is beloved tops.
Game shot on the fourth
And
leg.
takes it.
Darren Johnson.
Absolute huge moment there from Darren Johnson. And we see the fist pump there. He knows, even on day 1, that could be a huge moment
Fifth
in the
leg, it's
context
Darren
of
to
this
throw
group.
First. Game on.
Daryl Pilgrim in a spot of bother for the first time tonight. And Darren Johnson, who's had to fight hard for his 2 victories, is coasting to this one seemingly. He has the darts to win it 4-1 and put Pilgrim away in double quick time.
140.
This is some performance because
140.
in his last game, he didn't play particularly well. Only averaged 79. So whatever he's done in that half an hour, 40 minutes has certainly worked.
140.
What he did do, though, Phil, his finishing was almost perfect. It was 4 out of 6. In this game, it has been perfect.
27.
That is the best attribute you can have as a darts player.
Yeah, it just creates that pressure, knowing that your opponent thinks, I can't give him a
100.
chance because he's not going to miss.
A really, really good display. An average of almost 99. And if he can complete a three-figure checkout for the
140.
second successive leg, then
121.
Darren Johnson will be jumping for joy. That's a difficult dart. Did think that he might not be interested in the finish then with Pilgrim not on one, and hasn't left it as handy as he might have, and he just thought about setting up.
Yeah, that last start
58.
may cause him a
Darren, you
problem.
require 81.
Looking at 57 for 24.
Because he's kind of forced to go 12 bull, isn't he?
Yeah, the 136 is more than doable for Pilgrim, so he had to go for it.
Right, he thinks that's in the treble. It's not. It's just in the single. He asks, is it 26 left? No. It's 50.
50.
And that was almost a
Darren, you require
half-hearted effort at the
136.
ball. He's almost caught between two minds there.
Oh, this would be a real tungsten tide turner.
128.
Close, but not close enough.
Darren, you require 31.
Darren Johnson coming back for 31 to seal what would be a huge victory here in Group B. Last start at double 4.
27.
Well, it's 3 missed
Darren,
for the
you
match,
require
including the one
8.
at the bullseye, and Pilgrim gets a reprieve. Johnson was holding all the aces there.
No score.
And they might come up trumps.
I can't believe Dart 2 hasn't gone in.
Darren, you require 4.
But now, second chance for Johnson.
Game,
and he
shot,
only needs one
and the
in that
match.
visit.
Darren Johnson.
Darren Johnson with a huge victory here in Group B. He beats the favourite, Daryl Pilgrim, 4-1, averaging just over 90. And the tide turner was that 116 to break the throw. But coming up after the break, going to see Davey Kerwin against Steve Brown.
Very warm welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. Before the break, Darren Johnson continued his winning streak, getting the better of Daryl Pilgrim by 4 legs to 1, inflicting Mr. P to his first L of the night. Right, next up for us, it is David Kerwin in action up against Steve Brown. Kerwin looking for his first win of the night, whilst for Steve Brown, he's now looking to double down. Watching this one, Phil Bars, Chris Murphy.
Thank you. Yes, it is the 4th meeting of the week between this darting duo, having met in Group A from Monday to Wednesday, and Davy Kerwin leads that head-to-head.
First leg, it's Davy to throw
having
first.
Lost
Game on.
their opening encounter on Monday, but then bouncing back to beat Brown twice.
Yeah, I'm interested to see here how Davey bounces back because he's given himself multiple opportunities so far tonight.
140.
Yeah, it's been on a real horror run. Missing doubles early against Daryl Pilgrim.
95.
Whitewashed defeat. In fact, he missed a dozen darts at double in that game. And when he lost
96.
to Darren Johnson, he also missed 6. So 18 darts squandered across 2 matches so far for the Scots.
55.
We won't learn much in the scoring phase of this opening leg. We'll learn a little more if he gets to the outer ring.
Yeah, we'll see if there's any scar tissue.
58.
Well, his favourite to get there first. Brown too far back to leave a finish with these 3 darts, and might still feel too far back
58.
to leave one with the next 3.
$140.
Fabulous setup from the Scot to leave 67 after 12.
100.
The ton
Davey
doesn't
requires
get Brown
67.
down to a checkout, so he's got all the time in the world. Maybe he actually could do without all that time because he's missed double after double.
Is that awkward?
Game shot
No,
the
it's
first
the answer.
leg. Davey Kerwin.
And Davy Kerwin needed that.
Second leg, it's Steve to throw first.
Yeah, the
180.
Scotsman with a strong start, but we saw this from Steve Brown in his last match against Martin Turner. He wasn't really
100.
there for the first leg or 2 in the game. He actually won the first leg in sloppy fashion, but then bounced back, didn't he? Really strong rally from Bomber.
60.
One of a handful of, I would say, resurgent Bristolian players at the moment. Chris Mason, a man you mentioned earlier. Mark Dubbridge was one of the
140.
unluckiest players at the recent World Seniors tournament. Fabulous performance, and Brown himself is showing signs of
45.
why he was a top PDC pro.
Yeah, that Bristol region's always been a hotbed for darts over the years, producing
140.
fabulous players. It's interesting though, like you say, the resurgence of Steve Brown recently, but the more and more he does with the other organisations that he's involved in, like you said earlier, I think it's hard for him to concentrate on playing.
Yeah, well, his
42.
distraction
Stevie requires
causes darting
76.
destruction. Gets an opportunity to level this match,
72.
but can't take it.
Davey requires 79.
Big moment here, because he should get 1 dart. I said should.
20. Stevie requires 4.
20 would have left tops. Well, he's looking up, Davy Kerwin. I think he's still looking for the dart.
Game
was
shot
way,
the second
way
leg.
high. Missed
Steve
the scoring
Brown.
segment completely. The weird thing is there, Phil, it was actually pretty close to going in double
Third
5.
leg, it's
That. You
Davies
wouldn't
to
give him a
throw
dart at the
first.
ball.
What I think he was trying to do there, because his darts stand up quite a lot, I think he was trying to place
58.
it high so he didn't have to go over the flight and pitched it wrong.
Yeah, so he could kind of clatter against the
Yeah.
tungsten rather than flick off the flight or have to...
Exactly that.
140.
But, yeah, he did pitch it wrong, and he got it all wrong. And Steve Brown got it right, and it's 1-1 in this potentially
60.
crucial contest for Kerwin, because if he loses it, you'll see Steve Brown go on to 4 points, and he will be left on nothing with one more
85.
game to play. And Martin Turner against Davy Kerwin could be a win or bust match at the end of the night. Turner in action next against Daryl Pilgrim.
96.
And is that playing on his mind? Because Steve Brown
100.
has the Kerwin throw under some pressure here now.
It's been a strange night for Kerwin. He's not had much trouble with trebles, but he's had double trouble. Now he's struggling with the singles.
135.
Down to a finish. But Steve Brown
60. Davey required 152.
needed a treble there, really.
Again,
42.
a wayward
Steve
one.
required
And it means that
116.
he's only on a similar finish to Steve. Not the easiest start for him to navigate, but it's a fantastic shot, that.
Game shot on the
Brilliant
third
finish from
leg.
Steve Brown.
Steve Brown.
The 116 taken out. Going the
Fourth leg,
19
it's
through
Steve to throw
419s,
first.
leaves
Game
tops. And going that way, it alleviates that blocker dart.
140.
Yeah, but he did kind of have the blocker dart on the treble 19, and he managed to navigate it absolutely expertly.
And Steve Brown
100.
stepped it up in the last leg and a bit. The average is now over the 92 mark.
95.
Yeah, this is a little bit more like what we saw in Group 8 from Steve Brown, particularly when he played
100.
Davey on Monday. He's going to leave a finish. Well, say he's going to leave a finish.
126.
I needn't have corrected myself. He has.
Yeah. Leaves the 140.
$96. Steve required
Kerwin has
140.
Kind of gone to pieces since that missed big number on the checkout. Brown's been allowed all
60.
the time he needs to seemingly breeze to victory here.
Yeah, 80 after 12. But all of a sudden, that 80 may be under some pressure.
135. Steve required 80.
It is under pressure. He's overtaken him. Oh, he's going tops.
Game
Bold
shot on the
and
fourth
brilliant
leg.
by
Steve
Brown.
Brown.
The bomber delivers two double tops.
Fifth
As
leg, it's
Kerwin
Davey
wipes
to
the
throw
forehead.
first.
He knows
Game on.
that was a huge moment, and Steve Brown producing all the classy moments in this game so far.
Oh, what a way to lead.
57.
3-1. And it is suddenly becoming terminal for Davy Kerwin,
140.
because Brown is ready to pull away here. 4 points clear of him. He's already 4 behind Pilgrim. He's 6 behind Johnson. And 3 go through from this group.
100.
Remember, the one little hope is that the player who's left to play is the other one that hasn't picked up any points. But he might have by then.
85.
Yeah, the last two legs from Steve Brown, a 15 dart leg with a 116 out, and a 14 dart leg with 80 tops.
Showing in
96.
the averages, maybe a little bit inflated Kerwin's. He's only had 2 darts at double in the game. And they both came
60.
in the leg he won. He should have had a third, of course. Only had 60 remaining and missed the board
58.
entirely, meaning he couldn't have a throw at a double. And since then, he hasn't left one, or at least hasn't had a go at one, because Brown has been excellent in that department.
125.
In fact, in every department, Phil.
Yeah, Steve Brown looks fully focused now. We know how much he wants to be here on Saturday night.
85. Stevie required 91.
Aggressively going for the treble 17. Might go the double 17. He does. Well, it could be another double finish.
51.
Great attempt.
Davey required 105.
This time to no avail.
And this 105 simply has to go. Brown sat on tops. And it's not going to go. So Steve Brown will return
57.
to seal the deal.
Stevie required 40.
Tops for the bomber. Across to tens. Now it's getting awkward. Fives.
No score.
And he's bust it.
Davey required 48.
Gone from sublime to a little bit silly. Kerwin will get goes at doubles this time. He'll get 2 if he needs them. And he does need them.
Game shot on the fifth leg.
Sandwiches one in between.
Davey Kerwin.
And suddenly gets himself back into the game.
Yeah. Brown misses. Match
Sixth leg. It's
starts.
Steve to throw first.
Kerwin
Game
punishes.
on. 85.
3 games to come after this one. Daryl Pilgrim versus Martin Turner. Brown will end his evening against the so far unbeaten Darren Johnson. And then Kerwin will face Turner.
180.
We were thinking it might be a match between 2 players who have no points, but Davy Kerwin might end up getting 2 from this game, as unlikely as it may have
60.
seemed throughout.
If he can break the Brown throw here, he will have the darts in the decider. And this game has spun again.
140.
But it goes back to the point we've been talking about all night, Murph, that there's nothing wrong with the scoring phase of his game.
140.
Yeah, he's found something here. 5 out of 6 treble 20s. He will be on a finish first, but how small will it be?
84.
Could have been better, but he'll take it.
100.
Huge last
Davey
start from
required
Steve Brown
97.
there. Just to tap him on the shoulder.
Yeah, leaving a finish. He's already taken out in the game. Does he go double-double? He doesn't. But he got it wrong.
67.
You got it all wrong.
Stevie required 160.
He went for the wrong double.
46.
It's a
Davey
mistake,
required
but it's a
30.
mistake that wasn't punished.
Well, now he gets a chance to go for the right double. More on that in a moment, because really he went for the wrong treble, didn't he? He left himself this.
No score.
And he can't hit it, and surely now he will be punished.
Steve Brown has already missed match starts. I was going to say should
30.
get one more, but he's missed the big number.
Davey required 30.
I was thinking, would Davy Kerwin go 38 for tops? He went 48 for tops. But it didn't leave tops. It left double 15, which he's missed inside.
No
and
score.
now he's missed a big number and bust. Well, this
Stevie
is a
required
comedy of
40.
errors from Claymore, who might be about to be put to the sword. Surely. Never
Game,
in doubt.
Shots and the match.
Davy Kerwin.
Steve Brown.
Well, what a rotten ending to a match which he looked like he might be about to turn around. Kicked off that last leg with a 180, but a miscount, then several misfires, and Kerwin is beaten for the 3rd time tonight. Steve Brown picks up his 2nd win, 4-2 over the Scot. He's got one more match left to play, as has Daryl Pilgrim, and that's coming next against Martin Turner.
And a very warm welcome back to the MODUS Super Series, where before the break we saw Steve Brown get the better of Davy Kerwin by 4 legs to 2. That puts him on 2 wins for the night and on to 4 points in the group. Right, next up for us, we're going to see Martin Turner in action. He's midway through his evening. He takes on Darryl Pilgrim, who is going to play his final match of the night. Having won his first 2 games, Mr. P, he lost his last one against Darren Johnson. Watching this one in the commentary box, Chris and Phil.
Thank you very much, Henry. And here we go. How will Darryl Pilgrim bounce back from defeat in his last game? And it's an interesting scenario here because the way the table now looks, there could be a clear divide about to happen, Chris.
Yeah, we just got a glance of it there. Darryl Pilgrim, if he wins this game, would join Darren Johnson on 6 points. Johnson would have a game in hand. And whatever happens in that last game, really, that divide would remain the same. But probably Turner and Kerwin, if he does indeed lose here,
game on,
would be hoping for Johnson to go through the card to win all his matches and leave Steve Brown on 4 points. So at least he seems like a realistic target to aim for tomorrow.
Yeah, an interesting couple of games coming up here.
And Pilgrim beat Brown 4-1 in his opener, then beat Kerwin 4-0, but was on the wrong end of a great display by Johnson.
180.
Don't know what he's done to upset Yorkshireman, but now Martin Turner's at it as well.
100.
They're all giving it to him.
Perfect start. And that wasn't a badly thrown 4th dart.
86.
Actually, a decent bit of thinking there with that switch to the 17s. He's
99.
made it slightly easier to leave a finish in a more conventional way. Doesn't matter anymore.
140.
At times, the 17's very underused.
Well, he's certainly taking it to Darryl Pilgrim, who's
Martin,
been excellent on his own
95.
throw, but Turner poised to break here. Treble 19 or the bull. Went the bull route, but has left 88.
67.
Just misses the
Darryl
chance
required 109.
to win the leg in a dozen darts.
Super first dart from Pilgrim. Now 1 dart at double 16. He's just dragged it low into the double 7.
Martin, you required 28.
Real chance for Martin Turner to put some pressure on Pilgrim from the off.
Game shot on the
that
first
is in.
day. Martin Turner.
Double 14.
Second leg, it's Martin to throw first. Game on.
Was found by Turner. And that's a breaker throw. They've been at a premium against Pilgrim tonight.
140.
Yeah, there's not been many of them.
$57.
He is
81.
cooking at the moment.
He's had little spells and surges, hasn't he, all night? He could have beaten Darren Johnson. No one's done that, but he had the chance to do so.
96.
He played well for the first part of the match against Steve Brown, despite only getting 1 leg in it. He had his opportunities there as well.
82.
And right now, he's looking at going 2-0 up on Darryl Pilgrim.
134.
But there's still a long way to go in this tie. But if Darryl Pilgrim were to only have 4 points overnight,
44.
Chris, then there's some work to do. And all of a sudden, there's a bit of pressure on the favourite.
Yeah, 100%. And it's one of those games, isn't it, that really is a 4-pointer, because if Pilgrim wins it, he pulls
60. Martin, you require 154.
of the bottom 2. But if he loses it, he's only 2 behind Or 2 ahead, sorry, of Martin Turner.
138.
Who's
Darryl, you
looking
require
very likely to double his lead
154.
in this game.
Fabulous setup from Turner, and he will be back looking at 8 to double his lead.
57. Martin, you require 16.
There we go then. That's the target. Can he clatter into that? He does, but he diverts the dart the wrong way. So now he has to adjust.
No score.
But he can't make the
Darryl,
adjustment.
you require 97.
Treble 19 for tops. Double 19 for tops.
57.
Double
Martin, you
combination
require
wasn't
16.
there. Did the first part, but not the second.
Game shot on the second leg. Martin
And
Turner.
he's punished.
Yeah, the second leg goes away of MT.
Third leg, it's Darryl to throw first.
And this would be a real turn up for the Bucks. Darryl Pilgrim, who won his first 2 games with ease.
60.
Not only, Phil, could he end up having only 2 wins for his night, but he could actually end up completely eliminating
60.
that fabulous leg difference that he built up.
Absolutely. And not just that, that he could end up level on points with
97.
Martin Turner at the end of the night if Turner can beat Pilgrim here and Kerwin in his last game.
Yeah, but if Turner wins this
85.
4-0, then Turner would get himself to 0 leg difference and 2 points. Darryl Pilgrim had a +7 leg difference after 2 games. That would be wiped out.
180.
He'd also be on 0 on 4 points. So if Turner did win his last match as well, he'd be above him in the table.
But with that maximum,
96.
it's just the
Darryl
charge
required
that we knew would come at some
164.
point.
Yeah, I'm glad I made that point then, because it's going to become futile, isn't it, in a moment? Or is it?
56.
A couple of trebles here from Turner, and the pressure is really applied.
Just got over the top of that dart, but can't find the target.
43. Darryl, you require
Doesn't even
108.
finish. So Darryl Pilgrim has all the time in the world to cut the gap to 1.
56.
How handy can he leave it from this
41.
217?
Darryl, you require 52.
He can't is the answer. And Pilgrim looking at 52.
Game shot on
This
the third
time
leg.
it is
Darryl
clinical.
Pilgrim.
From Mr. P. Cuts the gap to 1. 17 dart.
Fourth
Hold
leg,
the
it's
throw.
Martin to throw first. Game on.
I think what will be disappointing for Martin is that he really went missing in that leg. 17 dart hold for Pilgrim, but when Turner was still on
83.
176 after 5 visits to the board himself.
Yeah, you'd call that a missed opportunity.
And now Pilgrim wants to carve out an opportunity of his own.
180.
That is the way to go about it.
100.
And in the blink of an eye, Darryl Pilgrim is firing again.
Well, there'll be no 9 darter. There has been 9 darters on this day in history, by the way.
58.
4 years ago today, one was hit by a certain Andy Jenkins. A perfect leg
98.
from Rocky, who was here last week. That was a challenge to it. Hit it against Dave Ladley.
87.
The King of Cosham.
Yeah, lost in the semis of that tournament and did win
100.
a challenge to, didn't he? Not too long ago.
Yeah, one in Niedenhausen.
Was here last week. Didn't end the way he wanted, Andy Jenkins. We will see him again in the next
100.
series.
Martin,
He's
you require 120.
part of the furniture here at the Super Series in Portsmouth.
If you listen to him, it's his manner.
Well, this match
100.
has been
Darryl, you require 76.
Dominated by Martin Turner, but now Pilgrim's going to get a chance at taking control, really. Oh, wow. Well, that was risky.
Game
That
shot on
was
the fourth
really
leg.
close to the
Daryl
treble.
Pilgrim.
But it doesn't matter now. He's in charge, 2-2 and throwing first.
Fifth leg, it's Daryl to throw first.
Yeah,
Game
look,
on.
He's hit the targets there, but I'm not a fan of that way on 76 because he was a fraction away from busting his score.
96.
Yeah, it's the choice, isn't it, between trying to leave an open bed on the double 18 but risking doing exactly that.
140.
I think it's quite underutilised actually to
100.
start on 16, Suljevic style on 76. I know you're still going to have the same problem with the 60. If you do hit the single
100.
16 with your first start, but there are more than one way to take out a checkout, and players are getting more innovative, aren't they?
Yeah, and I get the logic as well because
47.
you're down, up, up. It's not so much moving around the board.
Also, for the less talented players, like, well, you and I, Phil, where you land next door actually helps
57.
you out because you can still finish. Whereas if you're going for 76, hit a 1 or a 5, you need to then find a treble. Or potentially, of course, the 25 and the bull, which is
60.
very difficult to do. Turner's he's putting himself in
46.
positions and then sort of wasting them. He should have been much, much further down than 158. And the last 2 visits, he hasn't hit a big treble.
94.
And that's the
Martin
difference.
required 158.
Daryl Pilgrim does. So he's going to have to pull out something special here, Martin Turner. It's just not happening at the right times anymore.
84.
The
Daryl, you
scoring
require
phase of his game's
104.
disappeared on him. And now Pilgrim looking at 104 for 3 legs on the spin. He's going to get a dart at tops, but
84.
drags it low.
Martin, you require 74.
Missing a lot of big numbers in visits, Turner. Can't afford to do it in this visit. And he doesn't.
54.
That dart would not have been a problem for
Daryl, you
him either.
require 20.
It was almost the perfect marker, the way he stacks. Pilgrim now looking at 5s. That looks a great guide.
10.
You can look all you like, Daryl. It's
Martin,
not
you
in.
require 20.
Well, Turner now. He wants double 10. He wants double 5. And he gets neither. Well, it's either a 1 or just throw it anywhere and bust your score.
16.
Goes for the
Daryl,
former.
you require 10.
But he may not come back, but the way his darts lie, double 2 is not the worst. And Pilgrim's getting further away.
5.
I haven't
Martin,
seen
you
him this
require
animated
4.
before here.
No, and it's always when he misses, and it then tends to sort of carry on.
No score.
It's carrying on for both players.
Daryl, you require 5.
Needs to make sure of the big number first of all. 1 for double 2.
Game shot on the 5th
Yeah,
leg.
it's done, it's
Daryl
there.
Pilgrim.
It might be dart number 50 of the leg, but it's the one that gets Pilgrim over the line. And he leads 3-2.
6th leg, it's Martin to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, right now, but if you're Daryl Pilgrim, if you walk away with 6 points,
60.
I think you're happy with that because the last 2 games of his campaign here today, he hasn't been at his best.
140.
Just wants to close it out now. Turner knows that this is an opportunity that's slipping
140.
from his grasp. And he'll feel good on 6 points. You mentioned that it was precarious on 4, but if he does complete the win here and get to
140.
6, knowing that neither Turner nor Kerwin have got any points, and one of them will only get to 2.
135.
He's effectively 1 win away from booking a place in the final.
And if you're saying that, Phil, you're also saying, aren't you, that if Darren Johnson wins his next game, then that's pretty much him in?
100%. If Darryl Johnson goes through the card, I'll call it now. I'm not here tomorrow, but I'll call it now. He will be in the final.
Darryl, you require 87.
Record that moment, timestamp it. Is this the moment that Pilgrim does get himself to 6 points? Double 5 will do it.
Game, shot,
well, he messed around on that in the previous leg, but needed only one dart in this one. And Martin Turner, having won the first 2, lost 4 on the spin as Pilgrim picks up the points, leaving Turner stranded on 0 with 1 match still to play. That's against David Kerwin in the final game of the evening. But before that, Steve Brown takes on the so far undefeated Darren Johnson.
This is the MODUS Super Series. $182.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. There before the break, Daryl Pilgrim got his third win of the night, getting the better of Martin Turner by 4 legs to 2. So Mr. P is in the P position, and that is pole position as far as Group B is concerned right now. But Darren Johnson can complete the card if he can get the better of Steve Brown. It's game 9 of 10. We are ready. The players are ready. It's tungsten time with Phil and Chris.
Thank you very much, Henry. And here we are, our penultimate match here for this session in Group B. And it is a big one in terms of the league table.
First leg, it's Steve to throw
Darren
first.
Johnson
Game on.
can either go through the card, move top onto 8 points and effectively book his place in the final, or Steve
45.
Brown can cause a 3-way tie for top spot.
Yeah, Johnson was...
83.
I wouldn't say lucky. He was deserving of his early victories. He had to fight hard for them, but he did get over the line 4-3
57.
against both Davy Kerwin and Martin Turner. Almost remarkably, his best win was against Daryl Pilgrim, the favourite for the group. The
59.
other player on 6 points. But he could find himself in position 1, 2 or 3 come the end of the night, depending on the
96.
scoreline in this one.
Yeah, right now, if you're Martin Turner or Davy Kerwin, you're wanting a Darren Johnson win.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Let him
60.
go away and leave Steve Brown catchable. If 3 players are on 6, it's a massive, massive task, isn't it, to catch any of them.
133.
Yeah, possibly too big a task.
But even for the player who wins the last match, he'll be 4 points behind, but with only 8 to play for.
133. Steve, you require
If Steve Brown wins
170.
this, I think it's done.
60.
Dropping bold predictions because I'm not here tomorrow to pick up the pieces.
Yeah, well, the only one thing I would say on that is that, of course, the fixtures
71.
are reversed tomorrow.
Steve, you
So if the
require
same player wins
110.
both games, then they're only 2 points off the top 3. Of course, then got to play each other.
90. Darren, you
So
require
they won't
95.
be writing off their chances as easily as Mr. Barr's alongside me. He won't go double-double. He's too old for that.
55. Steve, you require 20. Game shot on the first
Steve
leg.
Brown
Steve Brown.
steps in and punishes him.
Second leg, it's Darren to throw first. Game on.
I think he'll fancy the job, Steve Brown. That'll be a real turnaround of his night, having been beaten 4-1 in his first match by Pilgrim.
83.
To go and win 4-1 against Turner and then 4-2 against Kerwin.
180.
That last start was Adrian Lewis-esque, just effortlessly thrown in to the other 2.
100.
Well, let's have another one, Steve. Just like the other one, Steve. Back-to-back 180s from Steve Brown. Now, only Conor Heenahan has hit a 9-darter here. He's hit 2, in fact. But on the night when he hit his first, Steve Brown had actually missed the double.
Steve, you require 141.
To be the first to do it here.
Where's the pantomime boo button?
Yeah, that was
66.
almost like he was trolling us.
Here's what you could have won.
76. Steve,
Well, it's
you
not
require
touching, but even if it
75.
was, it wouldn't have mattered. Seeing all sorts of things in this leg. Will we see Steve Brown win it in a dozen?
35.
No. Will we see
Darren,
Darren Johnson sneak it from
157.
nowhere? No.
This would be on, if he'd have taken that, it'd have been on par with that famous leg from the Newcastle Premier League.
23.
When
Steve,
Van
you
Kerwin
require
misses the 9
40.
and Gary Henderson pinned the big fish.
Yeah, incredible.
Game
The
shot
leg
on the
now
second
is
leg.
over, and it is
Steve Brown.
with its rightful owner, Steve Brown, who doubles his lead 2-0. Darren Johnson staring down the
Third leg,
barrel
it's Steve to throw
of
first.
what would be his only defeat of the night.
Oh, stop it, Steve. Stop it.
180. 44.
Teasing us again.
Well, this time he gets the
81.
big one out of the way early just to get rid of any silly thoughts. But it's a blistering performance from Steve
96.
Brown. 3 maximums in as many legs.
When you said that the only man to hit a 9-darter under this roof is Conor Heenahan, are we not counting the 1-ball 9?
No way. Yeah, practice darts do not count.
100.
It was a good bit of fun and probably the loudest roar we've had this series. And John Worsley hit a 9-darter in practice
45.
earlier this week. But it was against Steve Brown, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
140. 87.
Good last dart.
Darren, you require
Still a way back for Darren
121.
Johnson, but it might have to involve taking this out.
Treble 17 for the ball. Can't find it, so Steve Brown will return. Looking at 72 and 3-0.
Steve requires 72.
16s. 12s.
Game shot on the
3-0.
third lay. Steve Brown.
Barrage of brilliance from Brown. Who's one away from the whitewash win.
Fourth leg, it's Darren to throw first.
And this is not
Game
the
on.
result that the bottom 2 wanted.
He'd sit second in the table on exactly the same record as
97.
Daryl Pilgrim if he did win 4-0. But Pilgrim, of course, won their match, so would just be ahead by virtue of head-to-head.
140.
Steve Brown really looking good in the scoring phase of this game.
34.
And it's looking like, as Phil Bars was saying earlier, a disastrous result for the bottom 2. Martin Turner
100.
and Davy Kerwin, who will play the last match. And I think the loser will feel that they're definitely going to be out of the race, and the winner will feel that they're going to have to still
41.
do something superhuman tomorrow to catch any of the top 3.
100.
To me, Steve's just thrown a little bit quicker here as well. And that's making all the difference.
Yeah, plenty of purpose in the Brown approach.
100. Steve required 161.
You want to do it in style. I think 9 times out of 10, Steve Brown would have just thrown for another treble 20 there, but there's been a certain swagger about him in this game.
137.
Some peacockery on the stage from him.
To be fair, there was in the previous game when he went tops on 80.
83.
And pulled it off.
Steve required
He might
24.
pull off an incredible result here. Darren Johnson was undefeated going into this match. Is he thinking about not going for this? Is he thinking about not going for the double 3?
He is.
No score.
I like that.
Wow.
I
Darren,
like
you
that.
require 146.
Throws down the gauntlet to Darren Johnson. He's telling him, I don't think you can take this out.
Well, that was its kind of own form of showboating, wasn't it? The reverse showboat.
21.
Rather than going for 2 doubles,
Steve
he didn't go for it at all.
24.
Back for double 12.
One more in hand.
No score. Darren, you require 125.
Okay then, 110. Oh, and the other side of the wire, he would have left the bullseye.
37. Steve, you required 24.
So this time, Steve, can you finish the job? Double 12. Looks a good guide. Over adjusted.
12.
You know what's
Darren,
going
you
to happen, don't you?
require
Steve Brown's
88.
going to win this leg on double 3 and wonder why he messed about earlier. Or is he? Because it's 2 darts at double for DJ to nick it. Double 7.
74.
And he can't find it. Right, I've seen this before.
Steve, you required 12.
Inside, double 6. And then Brown goes for double 3 because he really has to, and he hits it and thinks, what a waste of time the last 2 minutes have been.
moving across to open up the angle.
Well, he
Game,
gets there
shot,
in the end, not
and
the
the
way I
match,
thought he would.
Steve
Maybe not the way
Brown.
he thought he would. But the first 3 legs did the damage, and Steve Brown finally crossed the line to complete a whitewash win against the previously unbeaten Darren Johnson, who was, well, there, but not really present in his final match of the night. And Steve Brown makes it a 3-way tie at the top on 6 points. The 2 players with none will play the curtain closing contest when Martin Turner takes on Davy Kerwin.
Welcome back to the MODUS Super Series. We're joined up here on the balcony by Steve Brown. 3 wins for you tonight. How would you assess your performances?
I think I got better as I went on. I don't think I've won my first game all week this week. So obviously, I just think I'm not playing enough at the moment. So it takes me a while to get into the day. But no, you know, to be fair, I'm pleasantly pleased with my performances this week. Yeah.
Let's say pleasantly pleased. Is that because of the aspect you haven't been able to play as much recently?
Yeah, I just didn't know what to expect. And, you know, you come into these things and all these players are, you know, sometimes they don't perform on the stage and they may get a bit of stick online and stuff. But they're all really, really good dart players. So I knew coming into it, and they're a bit more sort of, they're playing more than I am. So coming into it, you know, I do fancy my chances. I'll always do that. But I just never know what's going to come next. Does your experience of the stage help you when you do come here? I think so, yeah. I think experience is really important, and I lean into that quite a lot. Just from my own sake, really. You know, if things aren't going right, then perhaps I've got experience to question myself. Why aren't they going right? Am I throwing too fast? Am I throwing too slow? So I just always try and find a rhythm that suits me.
But as far as tonight's concerned, 3 players on 6 points. You're in that particular bracket now. This is how the table stands. This is as of live. Now, as far as yourself and Del Pilgrim is concerned, the only difference actually we can separate is the head-to-head from earlier on this evening. So that top 3 is going to be, it's going to be quite a tight race tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, I want to win it. Of course I do. Darryl's a great player, but so's Darren, so's Martin, so's Davey. So for me, I want to come. I'll give my best account of myself tomorrow. And I think, you know, I've definitely got it in my game to win it. And if I do win it this week, I will put it down as one of my best performances ever, yeah.
Well, you said to me on Monday when you won those 4 out of 5 matches, did you feel certain? You said there was more to go. Where would you say the Steve Brown level of performance is at altogether you think you can get to?
I don't think I've achieved my potential, but I've never have on TV, so that's always been a bugbear of mine. There's lots of rungs to the ladder when you're playing on the Pro Tour, and I've hit 9 darters, I won Pro Tours, but I've never really sort of showed my potential on TV, so this is a great opportunity for me this week to do that.
Well, Steve, well done tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. One more game for us to go here this evening. It's good to see Martin Turner in action up against David Kerwin. The victor will pick up their first points of the evening. And watching this one in the commentary box is Phil Bars alongside Chris Murphy.
Thank you, Henry. Yeah, always a very interesting, engaging interview, Steve Brown. Of course, many other interests in this sport, but bread and butter is playing it, isn't it? And he is starting to show what he's got here at the Super Series.
First leg, it's Martin to throw first. Game on.
See Steve Brown succeed here on a Saturday night, and he's pretty much got 1 foot there.
Absolutely, and the younger generation and demographic may not have seen Steve play in his heyday back at
83.
Ali Pali and places like that in the PDC.
Yeah, you mentioned his relative success when he did play on the PDC Pro Tour. He had a spell a couple of years ago where both himself and John Brown, his son,
100,
were both on the tour at the same time, but before that he was much more successful. Now, neither of these players has been successful tonight. Martin Turner and Davy Kerwin both
100
have lost all 3 of their matches, and well, you would have to say it's win to have any chance of qualifying.
Yeah, look, the loser
100
still has an outside glimmer, but it really is an outside glimmer. The winner would still have to produce something special, but
58.
The opportunity is still there.
Yeah, well, only one of the 3 on 6 points
29
could possibly not get to 8. So there's only going to be one place really to play for. They're going to take points off each other, aren't they? But whoever does win this match, we made
60.
this point earlier, will then play the same opponent in the same match, but first tomorrow. So could actually have closed the gap to 2 points before any
45.
of those 3 have thrown a dart. And they'll be feeling very differently about the situation if that is the case.
Yeah, the disaster for either one of these 2 would be across
99.
the 2 games.
Martin,
if
you
they split it and
require
it's a win apiece.
144.
Yeah, it doesn't really help out either player. We don't have draws, but that would be effectively a draw, wouldn't it? And then
96.
pretty much wave bye-bye.
Davey required 118.
Like we said, though, we have seen players lose all 4 on a Thursday, win all 4 on a Friday, and sneak in. It is very unlikely, but whilst there's still a hope, you have to believe you can achieve it.
Well, last time Martin Turner was in
42.
this group, he
Martin, you required
finished
48.
bottom of the table on 6 points. Darren Johnson got through in 3rd place on 8. 7 scored, 41 remaining. 24 remaining,
36.
not found.
Davey requires 76.
Opportunity here for Davey on the 76. He's going to get 2 darts at double 8 for an early break. That looks a fabulous guide to come off of.
68.
But he's over-adjusted.
Martin, you required 12.
And that's been the story of his night. Missed doubles.
Game shot on the first leg.
Turner takes advantage.
Second leg,
It's
it's
been a funny
Davey to
night
throw
for both
first.
players.
Game
Both
on.
will look back at certain matches and think, well, they could have won them or had chances to win them. Remember, Turner was 2-0 up against Daryl Pilgrim in
100.
his previous match. He missed match darts against Darren Johnson in his first match.
85.
Kerwin was also only edged out in the last leg decider by Johnson when he played a bizarre match against Daryl Pilgrim in which he missed a dozen darts at double and didn't win a leg.
But that's the one that I think has really hurt Claymore in this one. The fact that you look at it
80.
and you just think 4-0 that Daryl Pilgrim has played well and blowing him off the board, but he didn't. Kerwin had chances in that 4-0 defeat.
Yeah, and then he missed
100.
that big number against Steve Brown, 16 he did. He missed the board entirely. It's just been one of those nights, hasn't it? A night to forget.
58.
The positive for him is that we have seen this week that he is capable of going and winning 4 matches. In fact, he won 4 matches out of his 5 on
55.
Tuesday. He won 3 out of his 5 on Wednesday.
Yeah, so he will
58.
still believe there's a
Davey
chance.
required 146.
But it's a sport of fine margins.
Another in there. Bit of a growl
94.
from Kerwin, but he's very much on course to level this game at 1 apiece.
$60. Davey required 52.
20 for double 16, double 8,
36.
and the misses
Martin, you
continue.
required 160.
Just not happening. He'll expect to be back, and he will be back.
140.
But he'll be under severe
Davey
pressure.
requires 16.
This has to go.
Game shot on the second leg. Davey Kerwin.
Massive dart there for Davey Kerwin, because if he misses that, then you just fear that this game
Third leg, it's
just
Martin to throw
spirals away
first.
from him.
Game on.
Yeah, really good dart. And actually, he was shaking his head before he threw it. He did not like the position of the second dart at all.
85.
Managed to navigate his way around it. Still very much in the balance, this one.
$140.
A good start. Is he going to make a move here? On the evidence of what we've seen this week.
134.
Couldn't really envisage Davey Kerwin going through a full session without winning a match.
No, I completely agree. I've been very impressed with him here
58.
on debut this week.
Speaking of good debuts, what a performance by Rob Grundy in Group C.
43.
On Thursday afternoon, he'll be back at 1 p.m. to kick off his campaign. He'll start it with a match against Tom Becker, who he beat 4-0.
133.
A really good day, 4 out of 5 wins for him. And he's looking to book his place at finals night, 1 p.m. on YouTube.
139.
3 p.m. for the
Davey required
run-in on
170.
Sporty Stuff TV. And right now, for a 170 finish by Davey Kerwin. Not to beat.
134.
On Grundy's from that
Martin, you require
hotbed
100.
of the northeast.
Yeah, not quite that far up. And too far up.
40.
Martin Turner there.
Davey required 36.
Break opportunity here.
Game
And that's
shot on the
better
third
from the
leg.
Scot.
Davey Kerwin.
You can see he's grown in confidence from that double 8 in the previous leg. Pins the double 18, first time of asking, and leads 2-1.
Fourth leg, it's Davey to throw first. Game on.
Yeah, good leg of darts. 13 darter, but it's the way he closed it out, and it's a 133 to leave the 170, and then that's usually the range where he started to stutter tonight, but having not got a go at the ball, he set it up perfectly.
57.
And then pinned it first dart.
How Will Martin Turner respond?
40.
Because again, he's not played badly this evening. It's just key moments have got away from him.
58.
Slumps the shoulders a little bit there, Kerwin, but he looks like he could be the man who's going to put himself in the mix.
59.
As we were saying, 3 players tied on 6 points, but if Kerwin can do the double over Martin Turner, he'll only be 2 behind them before they start playing
81.
each other. Just put this scenario to you. If Darren Johnson can get
89.
revenge on Steve Brown in the second match of tomorrow night, then the 4th match will be Kerwin against Brown, by which point he could be playing to go level on points with him.
94.
I still haven't changed my mind though.
140.
You don't think we'll see either of these players at finals night?
I don't know.
97.
I'll get your opinion on something else in a moment. But we'll wait and see if Kerwin gets this 4th leg in the ledger first.
29. Davey required 114.
That just takes some pressure away. A poor visit from Turner. It'll be 54. Can't be found, but Turner's still on a big finish.
58. Martin, you require 144.
2 treble 20s for double 12 required. It's not going to go. So Kerwin will be back for 56.
87. Davey, you require 56.
Chooses double 18. But then ends up on double 9. Big, deep breath.
Game shot on the 4th leg.
And he gets it
Davey
for 3-1.
Kerwin.
Huge dart.
Well, the question I was going to ask, Phil, was about Group C.
5th leg, it's Martin to throw
It
first.
looks like this group is
Game
easier
on.
to predict, but Group C, Rob Grundy, Jim Meyer, John Worsley, or any other, which 2 go through?
Grundy and Worsley.
60.
There we go.
I just think that Jim Mayer was brilliant, but I just think that John Worsley is going to produce a
57.
moment of magic tomorrow.
I also think maybe Jim Meyer's best stuff has come at the wrong time. The end of Group A when it was too late, and the start of
140.
Group C when it might have been too early.
Absolutely. But look, he's given a great account of himself here, regardless of whether he gets through or not.
140.
Kerwin looking to get an emphatic victory here.
59. $98.
And he's still in a good spot here to break. If Turner comes up dry, then it's advantage Kerwin.
100.
Well, the 1 treble leaves him on a finish, but it's an outside shot. Kerwin gets a treble himself, and he's got a very makeable finish.
97.
He does.
Martin, you require 142.
Does he stay there? No, he went for the treble 14. I thought he might like the
90.
marker.
Davey require 109.
So this to win for the first and only time tonight. Treble 19 would leave double 16. Not to beat.
93. Martin, you require 52.
We've seen this play before. And it's double 16 for him, but he can't
36.
take it. And that could be that.
Davey requires 16. Game, shots,
Points
and the
on the
match.
board.
Davey Kerwin.
For Davy Kerwin, but not for Martin Turner, who is probably Finding himself with too much to do on the final night of action in Group B, Davy Kerwin gives it the big celebration after finally picking up a win. A 4-1 success over Turner, who ends empty. And it's Kerwin who wins 4-1.
Thank you very much, Chris. Phil alongside me on the balcony. Let's begin by discussing that last match because it puts David Kerwin at least in with a shout going into tomorrow. For Martin Turner, there's a lot of work to do.
There is. Look, first of all, Martin Turner, he's going to have to be perfect tomorrow if he's to have any chance of getting through. It's unlikely, but still possible. For Davy Kerwin, that is a huge result because that fixture will be first tomorrow. So effectively, if he can do the double, as we were explaining in commentary, he could only be 2 points behind one of those chasing pack. So he's given himself a lifeline, but he has to back it up first game tomorrow.
Well, let's see what else we have seen this evening. 10 matches for you at the Super Series. It kicked off with a 4-3 win for Darren Johnson. In fact, 2 of the first 3 games went by way of a 4-3 win for DJ. As for Daryl Pilgrim, well, he lived up to expectation, winning 3 of his 4 matches in the evening. Let's chat about Mr. P now then, shall we? Because he had the big weight of expectation going into this evening's session. It wasn't always vintage Daryl Pilgrim, but he got the job done when he needed to.
There were spells, yes, he's there, but I don't think he'll be completely happy with the way tonight went. A lot of missed starts at double. Look, I still think he'll get through, but he's going to have to produce something else. That it wasn't the all-conquering Daryl Pilgrim I was expecting this evening.
There was 1 defeat in there, and it was in this game against Darren Johnson, that 2-2 getting him over the line. That means that there's going to be 3 players stuck on 6 points at the end of the group. The other player who finds himself on that mark is Steve Brown. Lost his first game of the session, but recovered well, and as he said up here on the balcony, got better as the night went along.
Yeah, he's the one that I was most impressed with because slow starting, but he's been slow all week. But in that last game, the 180s and the scoring power was there from the bomber. So he grew into it, and I was massively impressed with him. Look, we've seen him play on the highest level. He's played at Alexandra Palace. It doesn't get any better than that. So he knows how to deal with and cope with the pressure. Look, as it stands, I think the 3 that we see on 6 points will all get through. So it will make an intriguing final.
And this is how the table looks then at the halfway stage in Group B. 3 players tied on 6 points. Now, Daryl Pilgrim and Steve Brown can only be separated by the head-to-head match that they had earlier on the season. That's how tight it is there. Darren Johnson also on 6. David Kerwin has given himself hope on 2 points. But, as you say, that first game, Martin Turner, tomorrow is going to be oh so crucial. And he's got to hope there's a little bit of carnage above.
Yeah, look, it's all on that game tomorrow. If David Kerwin loses it, then he's in all kinds of trouble. But if he wins it, as we see there from the table, the gap is then only 2 points. And that gives the 3 above him something to think about. And we all know when dart players engage their brain, that's when it goes wrong.
Now, you're off to Blackpool tomorrow for the World Match Play. You're going to be asking the big questions, but we're going to leave you answering a big question because who's going to go on and win Week 10?
I've changed my mind.
Oh.
I thought Daryl Pilgrim was going to do it. I'm going for the bomber. I've changed my mind. I'm going Steve Brown to book his place in Champions Week.
There we go. Phil Bars changing his mind. There's no splinters when it comes to Barsy, that is for sure. Right, we are going to be rejoining the action from 1 o'clock tomorrow on the MODUS Super Series YouTube channel for Group C action, where we're going to be in the company of Kerwin Hammond. But as far as Group B is concerned at the MODUS Super Series, well, it was a devilish delight. The 3 players at the top, it's 6-6-6.